Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5.
Boom, baby!
The Fan.
Stafford in no hurry, takes a shotgun snap, backs the pass, has time, walks it downfield, wide open in the end zone, touchdown, Cooper Kupp. TJ Carey in the back end fell down in coverage, and Kupp was wide open for the score. That was a 16-yard pass for a touchdown, and Matthew Stafford and the Rams draw first blood. Now it's 3rd down and goal from the 8-yard line. This is a huge, big play in this game. 4 receivers in, actually 5. 3 deployed to the left side. Wentz throws upfield into the end zone. Zach Pascal, touchdown! From the 19 to the 4, and the Colts get a sack. Al-Quadin Muhammad. Stafford out of the gun, this time an empty set. 3 receivers left, 2 go to the right, ball on the right hash. Takes a shotgun snap. Here's a screen down the line to Cooper Kupp. Follows the numbers upfield. He's got a big hole. 50. He's down the near sideline, inside Colts territory, inside the 35, and he's ushered out of bounds. A touchdown saving tackle by Julian Black. 1st and goal from the 10-yard line. Stafford right back to Cooper Kupp into the end zone on a slant pattern, a deep slant. And that's a touchdown for the Rams out of the hold of Johnny Hecker. Snap ball down. Kick is on the way, and from 37, the kick is good. Shotgun snap to Eason. Deep drop. Plants. Throws. Right side. And it's picked off over the head of Jack Doyle. Intercepted by Jalen Ramsey. The Colts fall ultimately to the L.A. Rams in week number 2. And they fall to 0-2 on the season.
And good morning to the city of Indianapolis and all of those tuning in to the Fan Morning Show. I'm Kevin Bowen. Thank you for starting your week with us. Obviously, a ton to unpack from right there. The Colts certainly played better in week 2, but missed opportunities in the first half and a big-time quarterback injury. That is what we will be talking about today on the Fan Morning Show. As always, Jeff Saturday going to join us thanks to More Restoration at 8 o'clock. So really looking forward to the Colts great hopping on with us like he does every Monday here during the football season. And in studio with me today is Charlie Clifford from Wish TV, one of my favorites. Charlie will be with us today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, and really, really looking forward to that. So good morning to you, Charlie.
KB, top of the morning. Great to see you. And mics are on.
Mics are on.
Thank you very much, sir. Great to be up here. Mark Dykton, great to see you. And driving in this morning, a little rain.
A little ugly.
An 0-2 start.
Ugly.
John Mayer was on the radio when I got in the car. It just wasn't a good start here, but happy to be here now.
Yeah, I could. If my wife was co-hosting with us, she could probably give us a great John Mayer song to describe the 0-2 start right now, but that seems very fitting. Yes, it is a little ugly, FYI, for those people going out there this morning. So again, Charlie's going to join us here the next 3 days. And I guess before we get into all of this, Charlie, for those that maybe haven't come across your work, it's at CliffWish8 on Twitter. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I appreciate the plug, KB, and I owe you because you've been so great coming on Sports Locker Sunday for the last 4 years. This is my 5th season in Indy with the Colts, working for AC at Channel 8. You can see me 6, 10, and 11 pretty much every night. And look, I'm just honored to be in one of the best sports towns in America. There's no question after the intensity we saw yesterday at Lucas Oil Stadium. Fans were fantastic.
Yeah,
fans are 2-0. Let's just put that out there right now. And from the 500 in May, just living at the track, to going over to the field house and seeing the passion that's brought every night, and then traveling around the state for college hoops and college football, we're at the top of the top here, and we have expectations, and I think that's what we're going to get into today. Unfortunately, it's been a slow start for the team that's loved the most in this city, but just thank you to everybody out there who listens, who watches. Again, much like Kevin, it just feels like a lotto ticket that we get to do this.
Yeah, amen to that. Yeah, I went back and watched the game this morning, and man, after that, whatever that punt snafu was for the Rams, that's one of the louder I've heard Lucas Oil Stadiums in quite some time. And unfortunately, the Rams quickly struck back and were able to hold on from there. At KBowen1070 on Twitter, 317-239-1070. As always on a Monday, we'll take plenty of calls throughout the course of the next 3 hours. 0-2, Charlie, for the 5th time in the last 8 years. First time under Frank Reich that the Colts have not responded.
Right.
And even things up. Obviously, we knew it would be a very difficult start to the schedule. But I think anytime you lose 2 home games, anytime that now you're behind the 8 ball, you look at the AFC, the only teams that have not won a game yet are the Colts, number 2 overall pick Jets, number 1 overall pick Jaguars. When you're in that company, it's not good. And again, the schedule is tough, but to be behind the 8 ball and now dealing with a quarterback injury, this is a less than ideal situation to be in.
It's the biggest day of the season. As you said, you're waiting on a clean MRI, hopefully from Carson Wentz. I took a little positive out of what I saw post-game, just sitting 10 feet from the podium yesterday. Wentz coming up without a boot. I mean, he was moving okay. There was clearly an immense amount of pain. If I'm Frank Reich, I'm getting an Uber for Wentz home. I don't want him driving. I don't want him stepping on the gas pedal. I need 6 days around the clock to try to get this ready for Tennessee, because the fact of the matter is, Jacob Eason walking into Tennessee, a team that just rolled back on Seattle down 15 yesterday.
Boy, that was a big win by them.
Huge. Totally changes the tide for this story. I think a lot of Colts fans were driving home yesterday afternoon thinking, all right, Seattle's going to beat Tennessee. Both teams are going to be 0-2. We can go steal one. You know, it's the AFC South mano a mano. Things have changed considering what we saw from Tennessee in the second half. And as you said, it's not only the 0-2 nature, but the way you lost those games. The first thing Frank Reich said, you know, I would like to play with the lead. I think that would be a good thing here sooner rather than later. To only lead, 2 minutes and 3 seconds through the first 2 games? It's been the nature that they've lost these games that's been most shocking for Colts fans. And let's face it, you have 2 potential NFC champions, in my opinion, that just rolled through town. There's no question. And you see what the gap is between what that standard is and what we have at the moment in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that you bring up. And we're going to get into the red zone talk. You talk about playing from behind, Charlie, against this team. It was a big key that we laid out on Friday. It's that you not only need to stay ahead on the scoreboard, you got to stay ahead from a chain standpoint, and don't let Aaron Donald pin his ear back. And I found it very fitting that on the 11th hit against Carson Wentz on the day, it was Aaron Donald that finally got to him and injured him. I'd say the biggest thing I walk away from yesterday, and we'll touch on the Wentz injury, I guess, here, is that we're 2 weeks into the season, which is a very small amount, but we are 2 weeks into the season, and the Colts have failed Carson Wentz.
No question.
And if you would have told me the Colts are 0-2 at the start, I would have thought that Wentz's issues would have been more
interceptions all over the board.
Yeah, kind of, and I guess, you know, like almost like what you're seeing with Michael Penix right now down in Bloomington, of like it's
self-inflicted,
been fatal errors. Not just throwing interceptions; it's the magnitude of those interceptions, whether pick six, you know, things in the end zone. And yes, I don't. The Wentz shovel pass was not good. I know that Aaron Donald made a big time play, but still, I think Wentz has got to first realize that Jack Doyle might not be there and not just fling it in that direction. But right now, from an offensive line standpoint that has more resources invested into that line perhaps than any other in the league, a run game, and it doesn't matter who the running back is right now. Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines, Marlon Mack, they're all under 4 yards per carry. And then something that we've talked about a lot is the wide receiver position didn't get a lot of attention in the offseason. And T.Y. Hilton dealing with his injury, and now Paris Campbell getting hurt in Friday's practice, missing the game as well. The Colts said they would provide Carson Wentz with more support. An O-line, run game, receiver availability, and certainly coaching staff. They have failed him in every single category. And that is, I think, is what is so concerning, because now he's on the mend.
Right.
Now he's injured. And who knows how these 3 straight road games are going to go, with potentially Jacob Eason in the lineup for a chunk or maybe all of them.
It is a long road until the Houston Texans roll in for Week 6. I think that is what Chris Ballard and Frank Reich are staring down this morning as they get into the Colts complex and they begin to sort out Plan A. Carson can somehow get this right ankle right and get down and play in Tennessee, or is Eason going to have to be the guy against your reigning division champs? I'll go back to what you said. Props to you. Only KB would have the QB hits ready to go. You need your own statistician through 2 games to literally, you have to focus on the game, logging what's happening, seeing what's going on in the sidelines, and then you need a wingman tallying up, oh my gosh, Carson's been sacked 6 times through 6 quarters. This is an offensive line second in the NFL last year, just allowing 21 sacks. I get that this is a different brand of football.
Yeah.
The stop clock is gone. Phillip Rivers is coaching high school in Alabama, and the ball is not going to come out in 0.5 seconds every single play. But Frank Reich, what he was fighting himself with yesterday at the podium, in my opinion, was he called it a give and take with Carson's ability to extend plays, his football nature. You see it at home. Carson Wentz is a football player. He doesn't give up on plays. He's not running out of bounds when he's scrambling. He's diving forward. Some would call it reckless. It looks like a pretty fun brand of football. To me, it looks like him back at North Dakota. He's playing on the turf. There's no fear. But overall, there needs to be a decision here. I agree they failed him, but in the same respect, are you going to have a quick-hitting offense where decisions are being made, or is he just going to be able to run off the cuff and put himself in situations ultimately that we saw late in the game? Aaron Donald, falling on that right ankle, and now you aren't sure if he's going to be out there on Sunday.
You know, it's such a give and take, Charlie, because, and again, Charlie Clifford from Wish TV going to be with us the next couple of mornings here on the Fan Morning Show. It's such a give and take because when you look at the first half and you look at the two scoring drives, and obviously you had several drives that should have been scoring drives but didn't end that way. When you look at the two, you had a 3rd and 14 early on that first drive where Wentz should have been sacked.
Yeah.
Donald spin move. Jonathan Taylor attempted a chip, didn't work out. It was amazing to me how they just continued to not really double Donald that much.
Talking
not
about
really help.
the Pittman play?
Yeah, Julie Davenport. If Wentz is quick rhythm there, if he tries to get the ball out quick, that play to Pittman never happens.
Right.
And it is obviously very reminiscent of the Andrew Luck era. There are a couple big scrambles in the second half where Carson Wentz is just making plays happen. The Zach Pascal 3rd and goal touchdown that got the Colts, retook the lead? Was that the 21-17?
That was when they got within
17-14.
Yeah,
so that was
3.
when,
that whole drive, Kevin.
There was a 1st and 2nd down there where literally Wentz should have been sacked right before the touchdown both times. So as much as, and I've had people, echo something similar to what you said about when are you going to get quick rhythm? It's not playing to his strengths. And when you made the trade for him, you made a promise in saying, all right, this is a quarterback that's going to hold on to the ball a little bit longer. And yes, you're going to try to dial that back a little bit, but you got to know that you've got to hold up a little bit longer because you need to take some chances down the field, which the Colts did a little bit more of yesterday because that's how he is wired. That's how his game goes. And for this offensive line right now to be failing you, Ryan Kelly, I would say, is one of the bigger culprits. I mean, it's one of the highest paid centers in the league and has not looked like that early in the season as well. That, to me, I just think you aren't giving Carson enough of a chance. And I thought yesterday, from a big play standpoint, from an extending play standpoint, I thought he gave you another opportunity. And it's just, fun, certainly, but I think he's giving you enough of a chance to not only be in these football games, but win these football games, yet around him is not living up to what you promised.
It's the trenches, first and foremost. This team's predicated on winning up front. It's what draft's been built on. It's where the money's been spent. And as you pointed out, Ryan Kelly, look, I saw a center week 2. Ryan Kelly looks like he's already played 14 weeks of football post-game. He's chewed up. He had the elbow in the offseason. Him and Quentin Nelson, as pissed off as I've seen them in their Colts tenure. I mean, we can get into the quotes here in a bit, specifically with the red zone disaster on the first drive and then again on the third drive. They have not had to figure out getting pushed around on consecutive weeks. I know you pointed to last week it being the worst offensive line since 2017. Julian Davenport, look, he's in there for now. We have no update on Braden Smith. I think as much as we want to harp on Carson Wentz, Braden Smith's situation combined with whatever's going on with Darius Leonard's ankle, because he's clearly not himself.
Right, I would agree. Yeah.
Equally as big. I mean, if you're going to take those two out of the equation, you're looking at a football team that's just going to continue to play upstream. But you're right. Your number pops off with the yards per carry, too. I mean, this running game, the number one selling point outside of, hey, you're going to have more time is, Wentz he said it multiple times this summer. I'm looking forward to handing the ball off, just letting these guys go. That hasn't happened on one drive this season yet through 2 games. There has not been, hey, wow, the running game just carried that load. Carson had a couple play action passes and we had 7 points. Everything has been tough. And does that fall back on Frank Reich? Because in my opinion, team hasn't been ready. I mean, opening drives, You're getting outscored 21-3, start the game or coming out of halftime. There are just concerns across the board in terms of what your blueprint was and what you've seen through 2 games.
He's Charlie Clifford from Wish TV. I'm Kevin Bowen against the Fan Morning Show. We'll hit a lot of callers here in the 7 o'clock into the 8 o'clock hour as well. We're going to dive into the red zone specifically. I think too many times we're just like, oh, the red zone sucks, blame Frank Reich. And I think there's blame not only on the head coach in some of those situations, but I think when you look at the execution as well, there's some blame on the players. So we'll dive into that a little bit more. Quickly on Carson Wentz. MRI happened last night. The results of that MRI should come today. We'll kind of unpack exactly what happened on that play. Charlie mentioned, again, he was in the press conference, get a little bit of look at a guy that's dealt with a lot of injuries, but just simply said there was no stability on that ankle. He cannot go back in the game, and obviously that is huge when you look at Tennessee, at Miami, at Baltimore, the next 3 weeks. IU Purdue talk as well. A little IndyCar, Laguna Seca, Jeff Saturday, 8 o'clock. We're taking your calls. Fan Morning Show, Kevin Bowen, Charlie Clifford today, 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for Indy sports. Now with even more ways to listen.
Listen on air.
Online at 1075thefan.com.
And on our free app.
Stay connected to all things Indy sports, including the latest news, show blogs, and catch up on what you've missed with our podcast.
We're never more than just a click away.
Download our app at Google Play and on the App Store. From your home for Indy sports.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The goblet has dropped. Caesars Sportsbook is here. Download it. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up.
Hey, it's AMV for the brand new CarX Tire and Auto at 455 East Northfield Drive in Brownsburg with a grand opening special including lifetime brakes for $109.99. CarX.com today. Hey, it's JMV. Did you know that one of the easiest ways to save money every month is to reevaluate how much you're paying for home and auto insurance? It's true, and Forum Credit Union can help with Forum Insurance Services, whose agents are ready to give you a fast, no-obligation quote from multiple companies. Forum Insurance Services can even help with renters, pet, and wedding insurance. Make a smart financial move and make sure you're not paying too much for insurance. Visit forumcu.com to learn more and to request your custom quote today.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook is ready to make this football season one to remember. All season long, you can score at Bet Rivers Sportsbook with free bets, odds boosts, and more. With player props, thousands of game lines, and live in-game betting, Bet Rivers Sportsbook delivers a best-in-class sports betting experience and has an experienced customer service team to back it up. Visit Bet Rivers Sportsbook today and bet this football season with a local trusted team that puts you first. Go to betrivers.com and be a winner. Partner of French Lick Casino Resort. Must be 21 or over to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448. Playable only in Indiana.
Hey, it's AMV. Business owners, are you feeling boxed in by the pressures of running your business? Remote workforces, HR compliance, retaining top talent, the list goes on. Fortunately, there's Insperity. They put 30-plus years of HR experience to work, offering your employees competitive benefit options while lightening your HR load, so your employees and your business are set up for success. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Full-service HR, employee benefits, HR technology, Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo.
What is the present? Well, it's the perfect time to call Golden Oak to find out how much money you can save. Home values are up, which means you have more equity than you think. There's no time like the present to take advantage of our low 2.25% rate. Visit goldenoaklending.com today.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Hey, it's JMV from Mark Dietl Realty, 317-755-4232. That's 317-755-4232. Online, markdietl.com. That is Mark, DIETEL.com. A lot of people doing a lot of moving and shaking right now in the housing market. Here's the one thing you need to know. You have to go with the best, and the best is Mark Dietl, and this is what I love the most, because he's going to guarantee multiple offers in 3 days, or he is going to sell it for free. So whether you're downsizing or maybe you're upgrading, Mark Dietl is the one to call. Also, Rhonda on the east side of Indianapolis wanted to take advantage of a hot market and sell her rental property. She gave Mark a call, and he delivered as promised. That's exactly what he does. It's Mark Dietl Realty today.
Tell them I sent you. 317-755-4232. 317-755-4232. Online, markdietel.com. That's markdietel.com today.
Sign up today at BetMGM and enjoy the thrill of victory on your very first bet. The King of Sportsbooks welcomes you to Showtime with the lock of the year. Simply place a $10 moneyline wager on either the Lions or Green Bay, and if either team scores a touchdown, you'll win $200 in free bets, regardless of your bet's outcome. Just use the bonus code THEFAN200, that's all one word, capital T, capital F, when you make your first bet to take advantage of this offer. Enjoy football like never before with BetMGM's live betting options, boosted odds specials, and daily promotions at your fingertips all season long. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com. And again, that bonus code, THEFAN200, to win $200 in free bets if either the Lions or Green Bay scores a touchdown. Nothing beats a W at BetMGM. New customer offer, paid in free bets. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Indiana only, must be 21 or older to wager. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
It's always smart to shop at Diamonds Direct. But right now, it's smarter than ever. With 5 years, 0 interest financing, and no money down on any purchase. No kidding. It's the best offer ever. Keep your money and finance the entire purchase, even the tax, for 5 years without paying a dime in interest. Get a $10,000 certified diamond for only $168 a month. It's definitely the smart way to buy, so don't miss it. On approved credit. Details at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Keystone at the Crossing.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain? Listen carefully, because now there are new treatments available here. And we're not talking surgeries or steroids. These are regenerative treatments from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Hi, this is Kevin Bowen, and QC Kinetics is the leader in these exciting biological therapies that help restore and repair damaged tissue in your joints with lasting results. If you've got pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back, joint pain that won't go away, you need to check out these new treatments with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. They can actually help your body restore and repair itself with no downtime, no drugs, no surgery. Call now to schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics. That's 463-235-7160. Tired of dealing with joint pain and want to get moving again? You need to learn more about biological therapies that are changing the way we think about dealing with joint pain. It's exciting stuff. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics. That's 463-235-7160.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Hey, the Colts covered 27-24. If that's all you care about, that's a win, but they are now 0-2 for the 5th time in the last 8 years. What particularly stings about yesterday, non-Carson Wentz injury division, you had opportunities, costly chances against an elite team in the first half. Frank Reich on the issues punching the ball into the end zone.
We call 3 runs and we don't get any of the runs in, and then, the last ones are a little raw out pass where we've got a little trickery in how we called it with the play before, but they were ready for it, so it wasn't coached well enough. But we got to get it in from the 1 yard line. Just thought that hurt us, and so I didn't call the right play, and we didn't execute well enough. So that's on all of us.
Yes, both can be true, and we'll get more into the red zone here a little bit later in the 7 o'clock hour. Charlie Clifford from Wish TV and with us the next 3 mornings here on the Fan Morning Show. When you're playing the LA Rams, Charlie, precious points, missed opportunities. Golden missed opportunities to potentially play from ahead where maybe Carson Wentz isn't getting hit 11 times.
You're right. It was a completely different feel from Seattle. Should have won that game. Felt like it was in the grasp. You get the gift with the whatever happened on the Rams punt. I don't know if that's ever happened to Sean McVay. And now we're sitting here dealing with what is the biggest injury in the division at this moment.
Speaking of that injury, Carson Wentz afterwards on his right ankle, we think, sprain.
We call 3 runs and we don't get it.
All good.
Ankle got twisted up. Felt it right away. Did not feel good. Tried to tape it up, spat it up, do everything I could to get out there and finish the game. And it's a bad feeling to not be out there, especially in that situation. Kind of feel like you kind of let the team down a little bit. So it's definitely frustrating, but it's football.
Carson Wentz is a tough, watching
Undisputed.
him play, watching him chuck that helmet when he got to the sideline. He didn't even make it to the bench. He stopped on one of the Gatorade coolers, then walked down to another Gatorade cooler, and when he got up and did those drop backs, oh man, I mean, he looked like a kid in Broad Ripple at about 2 a.m. trying to mimic that. There was no chance of him going back in the game. And when you hear that, Charlie, that's where I'm kind of like, oh boy, is this a high ankle sprain? Is this a multiple week thing? Because we've watched him for 2 weeks now. If that dude isn't 100% moving around,
no.
Oh boy, those hits are turning into sacks and fumbles.
You're right. And here we are. Jacob Eason comes in, his first throw, or second throw, I should say, going the other way to pretty much end the game, Jalen Ramsey. But no, Wentz sitting in the pocket. Does he have Brett Favre durability? Potentially. He's a tough dude, as you said. We'll get into the quotes with Quentin Nelson and Ryan Kelly, but it's just a nightmare start, Kevin.
One of 3 winless teams in the AFC, at Titans, at Dolphins, at Ravens. The Carson Wentz MRI results will come today, so we'll have more on that. NFL-wise, another wild Sunday. The Vikings, their radio announcer thought they made the field goal for the win. They miss it. They lose to the Cardinals. The big, Greg the Leg with a bomb for the Cowboys.
Yeah,
to win
the hero.
that one. How about the Titans? I mean, a huge comeback win in Seattle for them. They are now 1-1. And for those that went to bed last night when the Chiefs were up 2 scores, you missed the Ravens coming back, beating Kansas City. Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumbled late in that game. Lamar Jackson, a huge 4th-and-1 conversion. And the Colts could be seeing Jacoby Brissett in 2 weeks with Tua getting hurt yesterday as well.
Jacoby's saying, yes, I am the starter in Miami after a 35-0 loss. Good to see nothing's changed there. But week 2 brought it, Kev. Titans come back, as you said, Lamar late. Concerning considering we're seeing AFC teams start to play winning football this early. It's going to come for the Colts, but doesn't sit well after what you had to deal with driving home from Lucas Oil Stadium yesterday afternoon.
No, it's never good when the margin for error is shrinking in September, but it is shrinking right now for this football team. Let's go to college football. We talked a lot last week about a mega Saturday. Let's begin in Bloomington, where I think the IU faithful, talk about bringing it, they brought it, and IU brought it for about a quarter and a half, and then all of a sudden it all unraveled, beginning with that Micah McFadden targeting call. And if I'm Tom Allen right now, Charlie Clifford, I'm thinking long and hard about benching my starting quarterback.
Oh, the leash is totally, it's the first sign of trouble for Michael Penix Jr. It's going to be Jack Tuttle's offense. Penix has been that bad. I don't know if the knee's not all the way back. It just looks like a player he almost looks like a shortstop who's throwing from the hole every time across his body. There's no motion with the lower body. It just totally looks discombobulated, and a huge letdown for what was the best IU home game since. Fill in that blank, Kevin, for me. The Ohio State opener, but you didn't have a chance. What was that, 4 seasons ago?
Yeah.
They packed the place. Hurt for Tom Allen because they had that game won as he thought before the ejection. I've never seen a game turn that much on one call.
And even after that, you had a big fumble there.
Totally.
You're trying to punch it in late. The targeting rule, in my opinion, is the worst in sports. We'll get into this a little bit more as the week moves along, but I say that in all seriousness. There needs to be levels to the targeting call. You can go 15 yards, and maybe the second time you go ejection, but in my opinion, it's way too harsh of a punishment for that first call. And with Penix, Charlie, we talk so much, we want Hollywood. We want fairy tale. It absolutely sucks this kid has been hurt as much as he has in his career, but the reality is you need to make the tough call, and I think that's Jack Tuttle on Saturday night at Western Kentucky.
It's been clear. It would have been made by now had it not been for how much Tom Allen loves this kid and how much he fought back. You have to give him a chance after what we saw last season, but it's just not there right now, and you have other pieces there. The defense is good enough to win football games, and I expect it to be Tuttle if Penix continues to, again, first pick, I'm pulling him next game.
Ashley says, feels to me like Mike Penix is holding the offense back a bit. I would agree with that. Holding this team
that
back,
is well
which
said.
Again, you're not used to saying that about an IU team. The defense right now is playing good enough football for you. In South Bend, Notre Dame 27, Purdue 13. The David Bell update, it seemed like good news right after the game considering how bad it looked for him. I know he had a tweet yesterday kind of thanking Purdue Nation and everybody. Hopefully he can, get back on the field as quickly as possible. Just kind of a game where you were waiting for Notre Dame to put them away. Kyron Williams, just an incredible run there to ice that game. And we talked, I think, Thursday with Alan Karpick at Golden Black. He mentioned most games for Purdue. David Bell, George Karlaftis, the two best players in the field. Kyle Hamilton for Notre Dame, number 14. I mean,
He's special.
Incredible plays. And just really him and Kyron Williams. That was the difference for Notre Dame and beating Purdue and covering.
Yes, Purdue. Look, I think Purdue fans were happy with the effort Jeff Brom said after, happy with the fight, but the talent disparity there, and Brian Kelly tying Newt Rockne atop the all-time wins list. Is Kelly winning a special place in your heart, Kip? He's such an interesting character for me.
Yeah, he is. He's always had a special place in my heart, and I know that he certainly rubs people the wrong way, and it hasn't been a crystal clean operation in South Bend, but he continues to get this team to win games that maybe they don't play their best, and I think that says something.
It's been the theme through 3 weeks.
In the
Jack
college.
Cohen doing just enough to get it done.
Right. Purdue now home to Illinois, home to Minnesota. Huge games for their bowl eligibility when you talk about that moving forward. Quickly, high school football. What a game. West Side, East Side, Warren Central, Ben Davis. Warren comes back, wins 57-56. 29 points in the fourth quarter for the Warriors. They were down, I think, 43-21 at one point in that one.
Absolutely bizarre. Greg Rakestraw would agree the game of the year, and Mike Kirshner against his former home, two-time state champion with the Ben Davis Giants, Coach Kirshner. A little fight, just Warrior Nation shout out. It was a wild week 5 of high school football, headlined by that insanity on the ISC network and MyIndy TV 23.
Our game, Brownsburg 39-21 over Fishers. Carmel beats LN 44-14. Danville over Tri-West 14-7. And now we are past the halfway point of the regular season here coming up for high school football. Laguna Seca yesterday, Colton Herta got the win that I feel like he deserved to have about 2 or 3 more times this season. One in St. Pete, should have a few more others. But Alex Pillow, steady Eddie. He went out west. He was in second behind Potto Ward in the championship. Wins in Portland, second yesterday. And as long as he really finishes top 10 at Long Beach, the season series is going to Alex Pillow.
The future is now IndyCar. Alex Pillow, I don't think many folks had him holding on to this lead late. He's been fantastic. Herta spoke with him yesterday after the win. Certainly a bright future. Unfortunately, Alexander Rossi caught up with Herta in that early, which Andretti's, it's just been one thing after another this year. Alexander Rossi, you can say that for the last 2 years, but between Pato Award, Colton Herta, Alex Pillow, it has been a special year for IndyCar, and you're going to hear hopefully these names for the next decade plus. Which is incredible.
Yeah, final race of the year on Sunday at 3 o'clock. Again, that comes from Long Beach. All right, phone lines are open, 317-239-1070. We're going to get a little deeper into the red zone issues for the Colts and where they are failing Carson Wentz, not providing enough support on the quarterback as well. He's Charlie Clifford. I'm Kevin Bowen. Jeff Saturday going to join us at 8 o'clock. And have fun with the conversation. KBowen1070 on Twitter, at CliffWish8 on Twitter. You'll listen to the Fan Morning Show, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
The Colts hit the road to take on division rival Tennessee. Coverage Sunday morning at 10 on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Rick Edelman, award-winning radio host and founder of Edelman Financial Engines, takes questions on his radio show. Let's hear his advice on annuities.
Hey, Rick, I'm looking for a good investment. Should I consider a fixed annuity?
Well, fixed annuities aren't really investments. They're insurance products. You'll get a fixed rate of return from them, but it might not be enough to offset taxes and inflation. Most annuity contracts require you to keep the money there for 5 to 10 years. And if you're under age 59 and a half, any withdrawals are subject to a 10% IRS penalty. You should talk, therefore, to a fee-based financial advisor to see if an annuity is right for you, not someone who makes a living earning commissions selling annuities. You want a fiduciary who puts your best interests first.
If you're looking for a trusted partner who's got your back, talk to one of our experienced financial planners by calling 888-PLAN-RICK or visit rickedelman.com.
Hey, it's JMV. If you've got a valid Class A, B, or commercial driver's license, listen up. Ray's Trash Service is now hiring, offering industry-leading pay and benefits for qualified drivers. Openings include rear load, front load, and roll-off drivers. Check them out at raystrash.com. You know Ray's, the orange truck crews you all see all over Indy. Ray's is a local company with a great culture, family-run since the 60s. Check out these great opportunities. Apply today at raystrash.com. That's raystrash.com.
Hurry into your locally owned and operated Big O Tires for up to $150 in savings on Nitto, Toyo, Continental, Pirelli, and Cooper tires now through October the 10th. The seasons are changing, and Big O wants to make sure your car is ready for wherever the road takes you. So stop in for a free multi-point vehicle inspection. Just ask for Josh in Plainfield, Alan in Lebanon, Shane in Mooresville, Mike in Brownsburg, Victor and Steve in Whitestown, and Derek at the Indy location at 86 and Zionsville Road. Now that's a winning lineup. Big O Tires is a team you trust.
Our first plan to spice up the NFL season was to add man-eating tigers to the game. We lost a lot of great players that day, and that was my bad. Now I'm bringing you the Caesars Sportsbook app. It's got live in-game betting, parlays, and Caesars rewards, people. It's even better than Tiger Ball.
Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
When it comes to working at Geico, our best advocates are our employees, like Janet. But since she is so focused on growing her career, we hired an actor to read her story.
At Geico, we really help each other. If anything comes up, we work through it as a group, so we all learn.
As a full-time employee, she can also get paid benefits like medical, dental, vision, and parental leave. She even got a plaque for her desk that says, "I'm kind of a big deal." Yeah, you are, Janet.
Ready to start your career, Indy? We're hiring claim sales and service agents. Apply online today at geico.job/Indy.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo.
What is the present? Well, it's the perfect time to call Golden Oak to find out how much money you can save.
Who are you? I'm future you.
And I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. Home values are up, which means you have more equity than you think. A refinance now could be the best gift you could give your future self.
Thanks, me.
At Golden Oak, our local lending experts speak mortgage and love translating for our customers. With a cash-out refi, you could finish a home project, pay off credit cards, or even consolidate bills. The present is a gift, especially if it comes with extra cash in your pocket. So take advantage of our low 2.25% rate. Visit goldenoaklending.com today.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
BMO Harris is where you are with banking tools you need where you need them, like fast Zelle transfers.
Who had the 3-cheese omelet? Mine was 5 cheese. Okay, then you owe $11.72. I also had a side of bacon. So then make that $15.39. I have a mimosa on the way. Okay.
With BMO Harris, you can split bills easily using Zelle once you finally figure out who owes what. When your bank is where you are. That's the BMO effect.
Oh, you know that old injury of yours? The one in your knee or maybe back? Instead of going to the doctor and then doing physical therapy, why not start with therapy first? Athletico Physical Therapy is changing the whole healing process around. Their physical therapists will find the source of your pain and help fix it. Start with them and start living pain-free. Just like that.
It all starts with Athletico Physical Therapy. Schedule your free assessment at athletico.com. No prescription needed. Official sponsor of IU Athletics.
Hey, it's JMV for the absolute best. That's Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing, 317-284-9526. I know from personal experience I had an emergency. No water, coldest morning of the year. On a Sunday morning, they're out and everything is great by noon. That's the folks you trust because it's not like you're going to get any notice regarding your plumbing going haywire. It's LD Smith Plumbing, 317-284-9526. It's online for the best, LDSmithPlumbing.com today.
Get Wendy's bacon or sausage, egg, and Swiss breakfast croissant for $1.99. This hot buttery croissant is fluffy enough to sleep on. Wakey, wakey, get a better breakfast for just $1.99. Only at Wendy's.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Third-party delivery prices may vary. Not following the combo.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Welcome back to the Fan Morning Show. It's myself and Charlie Clifford from Wish TV going to join us the next 3 mornings here on the Fan Morning Show. Again, 317-239-1070. Let's hammer this red zone talk. And I thought Quentin Nelson put it very accurately yesterday in saying unacceptable. I put the blame kind of in 2 spots. And let's first, I guess, address, I think a lot of people are quick to say, oh, the Reds have never, or the Reds. God, the Reds suck too. The Colts have never been good in the red zone, this and that. Not true under Frank Reich. Last year, they're kind of middle of the pack. The 2 years before that, with Jacoby Brissett and Andrew Luck, they actually were a top 10 red zone team. So this has not been a chronic issue, but clearly has been one the first 2 weeks. My problem with the first red zone series, Charlie, is should your O-line get you 1 bleeping yard? Yes.
Agreed.
I don't think Frank Reich put them in the most advantageous situations.
No.
When you look at those plays, and again, Jonathan Taylor had a huge run to get them down to the goal line. They had that 1st and goal at the 1.
Yeah.
1st and goal at the 1, 2nd and goal, 3rd and goal at the 1. If I'm not mistaken, Carson Wentz is under center all 3 times.
Correct.
I believe you had 1 wide receiver on the field, and then you went to multiple tight end personnel.
Yes,
so you're not
tight
spreading
ends.
them around whatsoever to try and create any sort of threat there of like, hey, we might be throwing it, or we might do something a little bit more lateral there. That's where I feel like Reich particularly failed them and just not putting them in very favorable situations. Basically saying, Rams, come into the box.
No question.
Mano y mano.
There was zero camouflaging of what they were doing. Let's run it by first play. Okay, 1st and goal from the 1, right? Ashton Doolin, jet motion. He comes across. Davenport's blown up by Donald. Pascal whiffs on a block. Glow falls down. Just disaster. We got to reset. Matt Adams, you bring him in as a fullback on that 2nd down.
Yeah, that didn't work out.
I formation, 3 tight ends, as you mentioned. Kylan Granson, who has done nothing. You have Mo Alley Cox, Jack Doyle. Again, nobody's split out. Straight up. Handoff. Again, you're going right at Aaron Donald behind your left guard. Doesn't work. All right, let's bring Michael Pittman Jr. back in. Let's split him wide to the left on 3rd down. Donald takes 2 blockers, clears up a linebacker, flies right through the gap, hits Taylor. Taylor kind of jumps as if he, if he was on the 1 or 2, it would have worked. Can't take off from the 3.5 yard line. So you actually lost yardage there. And here we go. Frank Reich's explanation on 4th down. Okay, go quick, go quick. They think we're going to sneak it. They watched the tape last week, Frank. They know you can't sneak the football to save your life at this moment. That wasn't clean.
Out, yeah.
And the plan on the play action, Wentz turns around and hands the ball to Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor breaks on a running route. He was 4 yards away from Wentz. Wentz has the ball out with a little play fake. Once he turns around, there's a linebacker, Leonard Floyd, coming off the edge, I should say. He was down in his stance, in his grill. No one had even broken out of their route to turn around to look at Carson by the time he's wrapped up, thrown to the, he ultimately didn't fall down. They blew the whistle early. But where's the creativity? I get it, 1st and 2nd down. If you want to go mano a mano, play bully ball, say our O-lines, whatever, the highest priced O-line in human existence in this city. Let's prove it right here, and let's make a statement. Let's run right at Aaron Donald and tell him we're bringing it to you today, big fella. I'm fine with that. But outside of that, where's Mike Strawn?
Yeah.
Chris Ballard said, hey, this kid's going to get opportunities. The more he plays well, the more opportunities he gets. He played pretty damn well last week, if I'm not mistaken, having your 2 biggest 3rd down catches of the game. He basically gets 1 rep where they throw a deep ball just before half. It's a go route. I don't think they like the coverage. Carson really never gave him a chance to make a play on the ball, which, whatever, that's fine. Where's Strawn when you're inside the goal line? You have Mo Alley Cox. This is year 4. If you're not going to use him now, why is he here? We love, and I saw you tweeted the same thing, get Mo in space. He is a differentiator. I love Jack Doyle as a guy. He is never going to make a defense think about, oh my gosh, we have to really key in on Jack Doyle because he might do something out of body to us here that if we aren't keying in on him, we can't fall asleep on him. It was so predictable, and to have the game start like this, knowing what happened last week, it was your first chance to throw a knockout punch early, and you completely whiff, and then 2 drives later, it's the same thing. And really, I think 2 drives later, the play calling was highly suspect as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Mo Alley and Mike Strawn. Those are 2 names that I thought. I also thought of just more names that get on the field but weren't really utilized much yesterday. Pittman was, but Nyheim Hines has 2 touches for the entire game. When I think of short area of the field, confined spaces, Nyheim Hines in a one-on-one matchup, that is a guy that can make guys miss, and that is a guy that can create that just crease of separation, and boom, he's able to all of a sudden turn a tough goal line situation into a touchdown. So as much as I sit here and say, should your O-line be able to get 1 insert bleep
and they didn't
yard?
On 2 plays, so now we got to figure something out here.
But at the same time, I also think some of it is on Frank and not putting them in more of an advantageous situation. And I do feel like from a sideline standpoint, the Colts have been at a disadvantage the last couple of weeks, and that cannot happen when you are dealing with some personnel issues and you are playing one of the better teams in the NFL. Obviously, the second drive, you try to get cute with the shovel pass to Doyle there. That was a little bit tougher goal-to-go situation. You started that one first and goal from the 10.
Right.
So that was
and that would have been the
tougher.
3rd drive of the game. Is that correct?
Yeah, that came after the Kari Willis interception. You were trying to punch that in there. And again, it was a nice play by Donald, but like Wentz, I thought he had maybe Hines on a quick little hitter on the, there's obviously multiple things you can do with that shovel pass.
Are there, though? Because that looked like
he had
everyone
Hines.
knew.
If you go back and watch, he has Hines in the flat. It would have been bang-bang in terms of, like, could he break a tackle to get in the end zone? But it just seemed like he sold out on Doyle. Like, he was going to pitch that to Doyle. Yeah,
right.
And it's like, you got to at least look over there and make sure that Doyle's in position. I almost think he thought that, he saw the blue jersey out of his left corner of his eye. And that was Nelson. I think he thought Nelson was Doyle almost. And obviously, Doyle got knocked off by Aaron Donald there. So when I look at the red zone, your trench play, and like you said, Charlie, all you have invested resource-wise, not just money, draft picks into that offensive line, they need to be better in short yardage, but also your coaching staff in not utilizing guys that I think can excel in some one-on-one matchups. Mo Alley, Strawn, Pittman on a back shoulder. Hell, just even like a little quick hitter to Pittman on a jet sweep and let 6'4", 220 come downhill a little bit and get into the end zone. Those sorts of things I think need to be there. So I put it kind of at 2 areas of fault. Trenches, but also your coaching staff not giving that offense as good of an opportunity to convert there.
We've seen Carson run so gracefully. He can scramble out of the pocket. Where is his ability inside the 10-yard line for an RPO to utilize his legs, to give him an option of, hey, we're going to put you out of the gun. You're going to make the read, and you're going to do what we're paying you to do, and that's ultimately do the scramble plays that separate you from the rest of the pack in the NFL. I thought the ability, we're having him out, under center, I formation. It felt so scripted, and we're standing, on the moon watching this from above in the press box. I was just baffled. Back-to-back drives. He fits the one into Pittman, an absolute bullet on that 3rd drive as we were talking about that setup.
And that was the 1st and goal play, so got you into kind of manageable situations. The other thing that I wanted to mention before we get some calls is there was a 3rd and 2 in the second half where they brought Hines and Taylor on the field together. That is a personnel grouping I want to see more of.
Oh, my gosh.
Both of those backs on the field, and they ran kind of one of their patented plays. It was Pascal kind of picking for Doyle. Doyle, easy first down. The Hines-Taylor combination on the field, I want to see that in the goal line. To your RPO point, if you stick it in the belly of Taylor, now the Rams are closing in on that, and
exactly.
they are, trying to jam up that middle. Now you get little option play with Wentz and Hines and do a little bit of window dressing that way. So I thought that is where the game was ultimately lost, were those red zone possessions. Let's get to Derek. Derek, welcome to the Fan Morning Show.
Hey, guys.
What's
I got
up?
2 things. I got two things. Actually, Aaron Donald, you've mentioned his name a million times, and you haven't mentioned Buckner or Leonard. We're paying them game record money. Neither one of them is game record material at this point. And on the second point, I Googled Frank Reich's fourth down percentage. It was 55%, but that's just in general. How many times has Frank Reich cost us points going for it on fourth down? Because it seems like every week I'm talking about we should be tied or up right now if Frank doesn't make a dumb call.
Yeah, obviously that's a popular thing. Thank you, Derek, for the call. And Darius Leonard really, really quiet again until he had that tackle for loss there late on Cooper Kupp. You need more. And Darius Leonard, I think, clearly is hurt out there. The fourth down issues, Charlie, like I wasn't one clamoring for a field goal there on the opening drive.
No.
Again, if you can't punch it in from 1 yard, you probably don't deserve to win the game.
The biggest thing that stood out, and the thing that I just can't wrap my head around, Kevin, 10 plays inside the 10-yard line. It took until the 11th play inside the 10 to attempt to pass into the end zone. You run 10 plays inside the 10, you would not had one ball attempted into the end zone.
That's a great point, yeah. I didn't even think about that.
The 11th play was your TD on third down in the second half to Pascal.
Which is a great throw.
Yeah, it went basically saying, screw this. Enough of screwing around here. We're going to get this done. As the Wreckers, you're right. That was the difference. You saw the best player in the NFL, according to Quentin Nelson, doing his thing. And
yeah, let's not even compare Aaron Donald to DeForest Buckner.
No.
Leonard. Aaron Donald is the greatest NFL defensive player, maybe of our generation. So, yeah, I mean, those two got a long way to go. And honestly, it's just not Buckner. Charlie, I was looking up at the box score after the game. You talk about your young defensive ends you've invested first and second round draft picks in. I'm talking Kwity Paye, Tyquan Lewis, Ben Banogu, Kamoko Turi, those four guys. 88 snaps yesterday. Not one QB hit, not one sack. Those are all first and second round picks.
There's nothing else to be said there. I mean, Tyquan Lewis, I couldn't tell you really one thing he's done the first couple weeks.
Stafford hit 3 times the whole game. I mean, it's not like Stafford's some fleet of foot. Like we talked late last week, your D-line has got to win this football or win that matchup to potentially win the football game from a run defense standpoint or a pass rush standpoint. You did not do that. Let's get to Paul. What's up, Paul?
Not much. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. Thanks for calling, man.
All right, real fast. DeForest Buckner was in the backfield a few times yesterday, so he didn't play that bad. He just didn't have any help along the defensive line.
Fair.
Secondly, when we got down there the first drive, I don't understand why he didn't run it to the left between Nelson and Fisher, because if you look at that game, Aaron Donald had no success on that side. When he had his success, it was moving to the right side against Glowinski and Davenport. That's when Aaron Donald was disruptive. So I don't understand if he wanted to run, why he didn't run it to the left side. And another thing, why he did not bring in Jordan Wilkins for the short down run down there. And then the last thing is our defensive cornerbacks, when you're in press coverage like that, you have to disrupt that dag-on route and put your hands on the receivers. Too many times they're in press coverage and they let the receiver have a free release, so they're still in rhythm. Don't disrupt the rhythm. You can't get pressure on the quarterback. Every quarterback's going to have a successful day against the Colts if these defensive backs don't learn how to play bump coverage. They need to teach that, because if they're not going to teach them that, we're going to have a long season, and I don't see us winning more than 6 games this year.
6?
6? And I'm the most optimistic Colts fan there is.
Who are you hanging out with, man?
Thank you, Paul, for the call. I don't know if most optimistic in 6 wins is really fits the script there. I do think the disrupting of timing. Cooper Kupp is still running in the open field right now. That is a major issue, and it's twofold, Charlie. It's not only the DBs and press coverage, but again, I mean, Matthew Stafford in the first half yesterday, he might as well have worn a red jersey. It was 7-on-7 ball.
Can we go through Cooper Kupp and how easy it was for him when it was clearly the opening drive, 24-yarder? Who fell down in coverage? Was that Kari Wills?
Okay. Ankles broken there.
Ankles broken, touchdown. Screen to open the second half. Great point here on the call. 6 Rams were closer to Cooper Kupp on that screen play than the nearest Colts defender. I mean, highway. He took Meridian Street up into Colts territory, totally set the tone for the opening drive score in the second half. Then you have the broken coverage. Really, for me, Kevin, it was the play of the game. You get the weird punt thing. Rams get the ball back. 2:03 later, you lead for 2 minutes and 3 seconds when this crowd is ready to erupt and ready to put this game away. So I'm talking the punt, weird, Colts lead.
That was that 4-play drive.
4-play drive and 44-yarder to Kupp, which looked like a broken coverage. Again, left side of the field.
Way too much busted coverage.
Where do you think the ball's going? It's going to Kupp. Let's keep him covered and cut our losses there. Make somebody else beat us at some point. And I know you've been over this a million times. It just feels like when a guy is having a big day on the Colts, there's just no stopping the bleeding, so to speak.
And kind of the cherry on top was in that final drive where they iced it. Matt Gay kicked the game-winning field goal. Sony Michel, boom, boom, boom. And again, this run defense is supposed to be and has been one of the elite units in the NFL. They got taken to him there late. Mike, John, James, thanks for calling in. We'll get to you in a bit. Jeff Saturday, we come back here. Fan Morning Show, Kevin Bowen, Charlie Clifford.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for indie sports. Now with even more ways to listen.
Listen on air.
Online at 1075thefan.com.
And on our free app.
Stay connected to all things indie sports, including the latest news, show blogs, and catch up on what you've missed with our podcast.
We're never more than just a click away.
Download our app at Google Play and on the App Store. From your home for indie sports.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, the NFL is back, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay bet with 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. So if you haven't taken advantage of it yet in Week 2, guess what? You got one more game tonight with the Packers and the Lions. I like the Lions getting 12.5 points. I think it's going to be closer than it appears. Robert Tonyan to be an anytime touchdown scorer and over 10.5 points in the third quarter. Guess what? A $10 bet will pay you over $130 with those 3 alone. There's no feeling like naming a same-game parlay bet, so lock in your bet today on FanDuel Sportsbook and get up to $10 back if your bet doesn't win. New to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up today with promo code MARK to receive a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code MARK, M-A-R-C, so they know I sent you. 21 and over and present in Indiana. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and web. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Rise, shine, and dine for just $1.99. Head to Wendy's for a sausage or bacon, egg, and Swiss croissant for just $1.99 during breakfast hours. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary.
We go out as a group of guys, some former players, and they are just blown away with how great my hair looks. I did the multi-unit hair grafting because I was tired of having to wear a hat.
My friend Rick DeMulling, Indiana's own former professional football player, and I both know We Grow Hair Indy is the most trusted medical hair restoration clinic and the only company in the Midwest that has the Artist Robotic FUE and multi-unit hair grafting. Call 888-724-5129 or go to WeGrowHairIndy.com. We Grow Hair Indy PRP treatments helps me keep my non-transplanted hair. Takes about 45 minutes, and this busy world, it's perfect.
Having the hair that I have now has just given me confidence and just make me feel good about myself.
This year, restore your confidence and grow your hair back. Call for a free in-office or virtual evaluation. 888-724-5129 or WeGrowHairIndy.com. Today, that's 888-724-5129.
Hi, we're OfferPad, the new way homes are sold. Go to OfferPad.com, tell us about your home, and we'll send you a great cash offer. Or, if that's not your style, we can also list your home with tons of free OfferPad services, free handyman fixes, house cleaning, yard work, and more to get your home show-ready. We can even advance renovation costs to maximize your home's value. Whatever way you want to sell, you're sold with OfferPad. Sell your way today at OfferPad.com. Terms and conditions apply. Real estate brokerage services provided by OfferPad Brokerage LLC. Equal housing opportunity.
fall in Indy. And for 20 years, Rhino Shield's been covering Indiana homes like your neighbor Elsie.
My husband, he had been reading about Rhino Shield. We were just impressed.
And Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
And we had our all the trim and everything done. And they even did the ceiling of our front porch.
Indianapolis fall just got better. Celebrate Rhino Shield covering Indiana homes for 20 years for 20% off the regular price.
Oh my, it looks brand new. Saves us painting, and we get compliments even today about how nice it looks and everything.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
When winter is at its worst, snowplow professionals need the best. That's why your local Boss dealer has the ultimate lineup of snow and ice solutions you need. Front to back, Boss leads with advanced truck plows and spreaders, compact equipment, heavy equipment, and time-saving tools to clear any surface area. Keep them open with a Boss snowplow, built to back you up.
Join the Boss Owners Group and get a $50 rebate right now with a preseason Boss plow inspection at Mid-State Truck Equipment. Online at mid-statetruck.com.
USA Today Sports Plus is the new sports app that puts fans first. While others are at the press conference, they're in the locker room with more reporters in more cities than any other news outlet. Get the latest scores, stats, and standings and enjoy interactive experiences as well as group chats with their award-winning sports writers. If you're a fan of football, you need USA Today Sports Plus for this upcoming season. Download it from the Apple or Google Play stores today. USA Today Sports Plus. Fan harder.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. It's The Fan Morning Show.
We'll have some classes at times.
Hey! Quit calling the plays, all right?
Hey, we gotta run the ball.
We'll pass blocks, we'll run the ball.
Can we run it down there?
Can we run it down? Yeah, Jeff.
Hey, so
we will. All right, when we call pass plays, block.
With Kevin Bowen.
Boom, baby.
On 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
And welcome back to the Fan Morning Show. Colts lose 27-24 to the Rams. They are 0-2 for the fifth time in the last 8 years. And every single Monday here on the Fan Morning Show, and today it's myself, Kevin Bowen, and Charlie Clifford from Wish TV joining us. We have on the former Colts great, center Jeff Saturday, fresh off a nice Sports Center hit, it looked like, and a busy man every Monday morning thanks to More Restoration. More Restoration is now first on site, new name, same great people. They are helping us out with the Jeff Saturday segment every single week. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning. How you guys doing today?
Fantastic.
Well, we're doing okay. I'm going to guess that you watching that offensive line tape for a second straight week didn't love what you saw. 21 quarterback hits for Carson Wentz through 2 weeks. All three running backs under 4 yards per carry. Let's start there. What are you seeing from this O-line right now?
Yeah, it's brutal. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, there's no consistency, and everybody's going to talk about the Wentz injury and what that played, but looking for throughout the season, like this O-line, we talked about in the preseason being a strength of the football team, and that just has not shown up as of the first 2 weeks. And I think the most disappointing part for me is that you don't really know, where do you hang your hat, right? I mean, so if there's a certain guy or a certain issue that's not playing well, you can tend to help them. You can tend to do some things to give yourself a better chance. But it's like everybody's kind of taking turns of not doing their job. And so when you don't really have somewhere to kind of hang your hat, it's going to become an issue. And I think it just continues to show up. And there's no rest for the weary. Look, man, we got, we're now in the AFC the next 3 weeks for, playoff teams from last year. And, you got to go. Like there ain't no slowdown. Nobody's feeling sorry for you because you've had some bumps and bruises, but you can tell they haven't practiced together. There's no continuity. There's no there's no consistency up front, and that's where it all starts for the Colts, and it's got to get better.
Jeff, how does continuity come into play when you're on the 1 yard line, opening drive? You need 1 yard. You have Lucas Oil Stadium absolutely electric, ready to burst, and ultimately you can't pick up that yard. Where does continuity come in goal line situations?
Yeah, I mean, like inside gap presence, are you going to get a double? If a guy jumps through the gap, who's going to kind of be your help? Even odd fronts, like all those conversations. But at the end of the day, both red zone opportunities, I was really disappointed early. I didn't understand. At some point you just get foot to foot, bro. Put your hands down. Let's go move. Let's go move guys off the ball. And it's like, we just, for whatever reason, we can't get that going. And it's, I think it's a mentality down there, and as big and physical as you have between the center and the left guard, at some point that's got to be, hey man, we're going to come right here 4 times. Let's get it in. And that the Rams, because here's the thing, when I look at the Rams, I think they're good up front. I would not consider them like overly stout. You know what I mean? Like you see Donald like jump through gaps, right? Like he'll kind of get skinny. He'll turn his hips sideways and kind of skinny through. But it's not that he can't play with leverage, but he's not one of those guys that you'd be like, oh man. I mean, he's a 290, 90 plus time. Like put hip to hip, bro. Let's freaking move bodies. You know what I mean? Same for Joseph Day. So little surprised by that, in all honesty. But man, you had, you had everything in your favor and you didn't do it. Give them credit, but you got to go back and figure out why we're not getting it done and have a true, have a true meeting of, hey man, if we're going to be what this team depends on, those are the moments we got to step up and be the best of our group.
He's Jeff Saturday, joins us every morning here on the Fan Morning Show. Let's stick with the goal line for just another second here, Jeff. I think when you go back to the first one where you got stuffed on the 4th and 1, sacked, I believe Wentz was under center. All those plays, I think you only spread them out with one wideout as well. When you think of like goal line execution, and yes, as much as you got to get 1 yard when you invest so much in your O-line like you have, what are your kind of keys? Like what do you like? Do you like spreading it out? Do you like going shotgun? What are some of your principles when you get in those goal line situations?
No, I actually like their formation and setup. I mean, again, you're not talking about an overly stout group, from the Rams' perspective. If you just look body for body, it's not like you just look at them and go, man, they're just a bunch of, run eaters, run stuffers up in there. You know what I mean? They're very athletic. They're very agile. But, no, to your point, I actually like this setup. I mean, at some point, it's just you got to play better than the guy across from you. And I think and part of it is, how many reps has each guy gotten in practice? Have they gotten back to their form of playing? But no, I don't question the play call. You got to get it in. And the boot. Look at the boot on the 4th. You kind of live and die by that call, right? There's not a whole lot. You get edge pressure, and there's not a whole lot you can do when everything's kind of stuffed down. But the 3 plays before, it should have walked in anyway. And so. Even if you got to go QB sneak, I mean, again, like whatever you got to do when you're at that 1 yard line and you are resting your season and your hat on that O line, it's got to happen. And I know they're disappointed. I know fans are disappointed in that because obviously that's a complete slip. I mean, a flip of the game and definitely of momentum. And so it was just it's one of those things that's unfortunate. They got to go back and look at it and figure out what they got to do and get it improved, man, because nobody's hiding from that. Like, you can't hide not getting – I mean, think about the Ravens, right? Like, 4th and 1, this is what they do. Like, they're going to go do it, man. Whatever it is, like, this is what we do. Now, we may lose on it, but we're going to give ourselves the best chance. That's the mentality that has to come through when you're the offensive line, like you said, that this much money and time and has been invested in these guys. Man, you got to get a freaking yard. Like, that's the bottom line, and we didn't do it.
It's been tough, Jeff. 2 weeks. This time last week, the big question, can Eric Fisher get back? Remarkable story, shy of 8 months with the Achilles. Your thoughts on Fisher's snaps on Sunday?
Unbelievable. I mean, look, man, I think people forget how athletic everybody in the NFL really is. And when you talk about a guy coming off an Achilles at whatever 300 and whatever pounds, and the ability to move backwards and forwards with pressure both ways, right? A guy trying to bull rush you or spin you, and you having to mimic him and mirror him, and then you got to be physical in the run game and get push and pressure on guys. Man, tip your hat to this guy, man. I mean, this dude has overcome it in 8 months. I mean, it is remarkable. Got a lot of respect for guys who fight like that, man, and that he's getting back. And I know it's going to take you time to get into football shape. Like
sure.
There's no surprise from that, but man, you have to respect the effort and what he's done, because to get back that fast is very impressive.
Played 49 of 67 snaps yesterday. Eric Fisher on a little bit of a pitch count in his return.
Which is more than I thought. I mean,
really?
I don't know how y'all went into it. Yeah, but when I went in, I thought, he maybe every other series, or he'd play a few series in the first half, a few series in the second half, or something. But man, I mean, that's a pretty good cut. 50 plays, again after an Achilles in 8 months, like. That's a lot of reps. So yeah, again, just to show you the toughness of that against one of the best defenses in the NFL. He wasn't shying away from it, man. That's again, you give him credit for the effort to get out there and do what he did.
Our center, Jeff Saturday, joins us thanks to More Restoration every Monday here on the Fan Morning Show. Let's move to the biggest topic coming out of Sunday, Jeff, and that is the what we assume is an ankle sprain to Carson Wentz MRI last night. We'll get results here this morning. Wentz said last night he does not think it is broken. The difficulty, let's say it's a high ankle sprain, the difficulty for a guy that's been, frankly, Houdini-like in keeping some plays alive through the first 2 weeks and trying to get back from that in the limitations that he might have moving forward if he does try and play on it at less than 100%.
Yeah, no, this is very concerning. When you think about just the way that preseason has gone for him with the COVID deal, and then the foot and the surgery, and then the first 2 weeks, and I think y'all said 21, but I think I had 28 QB hits in the first 2 weeks, and man, I think even yesterday when you're coming off the field, and I honestly thought he was going to go back in when I saw him. Drop him back, and they're kind of panning over and you're kind of seeing them. But I guarantee you the questions asked are, can you protect yourself? Like, you're getting chased around. You got Aaron Donald, running you down from the back. Like, can you protect yourself and still get rid of the football? And look, that's a real question. Like, I think fans need to understand, like, that is a real concern when you're talking about your quarterback and what he's capable of and incapable of at the moment. When you limit his mobility, the way that people have been able to get pressure with Seattle and the Rams this last week, that gives you great pause and concern, because you do not want to put him out there gimpy when, to your point, he has been Houdini-like. He has kept plays alive. He's done all those things. And if you limit that, what position are you putting him in?
Sure.
But then you saw Eason come in, man, and the interception to Ramsey to overthrow. You're just, golly. If you're Chris Ballard and Frank, you're thinking, man, we just cannot catch a break with this kid. And so, you're hoping that it comes back. And I'll be honest with you, a bad sprain might be worse than a break, right? Like, I mean, depending on how bad that sprain is, man, I've seen guys be limited for a long time. So you're hoping this thing comes back cleaner than anticipated, because that was an ugly looking injury when you saw it in slow-mo from the backside.
No, he's a warrior, as Ryan Kelly said, and Quentin Nelson backed it up. Hasn't complained once through all the shots through 2 weeks. Let's put ourselves at the table with Chris Ballard and Frank Reich. Jeff, what percentage are you comfortable with Wentz playing on Sunday, knowing you're 0-2, you're marching to see the team you're expected to top in the division this year that just came back on the Seattle Seahawks? You're looking at a potential 0-3 start. What do you need to see to put him out there as opposed to rolling the dice with Jacob Eason?
Did we lose him?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the injury's that bad.
That's Jeff's like, I gotta roll.
He was pretty honest about that. Very concerning on this injury. That's interesting. He said, you'd rather almost have a sprain than a break.
It's like, well, hang on a second. Wow.
Yeah.
That
And, we go through the litany of injuries Carson's had. For him to just kind of realize, I can't go. I don't debate pain threshold and toughness when we're talking about Carson Wentz.
Think about where his adrenaline's at as we have Jeff back on.
Yeah, we do.
Hey, Jeff. Sorry about that. No problem. So our question again, where does Carson need to be at percentage-wise, knowing that it's only week 3, but it's the Titans, it's on the road, you have Eason, who hadn't taken an NFL snap. Where are you at if you're Chris Ballard or Frank Reich in terms of what you're willing to do putting Carson out there this early in the season with an injury?
Yeah, I think you have to have the conversation has to be, how can you protect yourself? And that's the bottom line. If you can protect yourself, feel good about him manipulating the pocket, even if you limit his break out of the pocket type runs. But if you're like, hey, he can shuffle and move, we'll match protect, or we'll keep a guy in, we'll chip some, we'll do something to keep him, kind of make him a statue more or less in the pocket for the next few weeks. But can he do it? That's honestly the decision, because I don't know that you necessarily make it worse, but you can definitely get something else happen, right? We all know that once you get one thing, oftentimes it can kind of move around the body, and so and to your point about the games coming up, 3 playoff teams from last year, like this is the time. I'm upset that you're 0-2 and we're sitting in this room, but the truth is that these AFC games mean more, and you got to go make this happen. I think if he's 80-85%, but he can protect himself, he probably goes. If he's not, I think then you'll see Eason and the Colts will be having to overcome not only the 0-2, but a new quarterback starting.
Jeff, anytime you're 0-2 and you got 3 straight on the road, the panic meter is going to rise. Obviously, 17-game season, 7 teams make the playoffs. The AFC South is a nice little gift compared to other divisions as well. So that's all right in the Colts' favor. But when is that sense of urgency, the panic meter, start to get to kind of DEFCON levels? Is it there, or is it going to take a few more weeks?
No, I don't think it's there. I think it will take a couple more weeks, but I would say your panic meter from a fan perspective and a coaching perspective are 2 different things, right? So fans will definitely be more concerned. I will say if you're in the locker room, you're definitely concerned about the offensive line, about the run game not doing its thing yesterday. The protection on Wentz, like those are things that to me are more concerning than just my record, because when you start talking about, hey man, can we get back on track? Well, that's a big part of getting back on track. So what do we have to do to get ourselves back in a position to win games and be productive? And again, having your quarterback hit 21, 28, whatever the number is over the first 2 weeks, that ain't giving you a lot of confidence that things are going to get better.
No, Jeff, let's get a win here against the Titans and totally flip the script. Quickly, your 2 all-timers, Peyton Manning, Edgerrin James, back in the house that they helped build yesterday. I don't think anyone left their seats to do anything at halftime other than give these 2 one of the most deafening celebrations I've heard at Lucas Oil Stadium. What do you think it meant to 18 and Edge, knowing how epic it was in Canton, but to come home and ultimately see the fans that were along for one of the most magical rides in NFL history? Did you hear anything from Peyton or Edge yesterday?
So good, bro. So good. Listen, when you think about, I'll compare it to the Super Bowl, right? It was winning the Super Bowl was awesome, incredible, everything that you think of. The best part was the parade and coming back to the dome and, the RCA Dome and going in, because it's your fans. Right? No different than when you win the AFC Championship game at home, because it's in front of your fans. Like when those guys came back yesterday, going to the Hall of Fame is unbelievable, and it's a dream, and all that implies. Now you're with the people who supported you all those years. That's a difference, man. There is a difference when you walk in your building, your home, and are celebrated at that level for the things that you've done for that city and the transformation that you brought for that entire state. It's unbelievable, bro. And I know it's so appreciated by both those guys, man. They, both those guys, it does not go past them of how important the support from the Colts has been and continues to be this day, man. It's just special, and it's like none other. And sorry I couldn't be there, because I would have loved to have heard it. but I know it was unbelievable. I've heard from a number of people how sweet that thing was. So good for those guys, and good for the city and for the state of Indiana as a whole.
Well, Jeff, looking ahead to Sunday, the Colts have dominated the Tennessee Titans really ever since you played for this team. So I think I speak for everyone here in this market and hoping that the Colts can get to 1-2 on the season and try to steady the ship a bit. Jeff, as always, seemingly with these first 2 weeks in the O-line play, your insight has meant more than we ever could imagine. So thank you so much for hopping on with us, and we'll talk to you next Monday.
Appreciate it, fellas. Let's catch up next Monday. Let's get that win, baby. Let's get it.
Let's go, Jeff.
That's the legend.
Come on.
Right there, Jeff Saturday. We might need a little FaceTime in the old meeting room this week from number 63. Again, thanks to More Restoration. They are now first on site, new name, same great people for helping us with that each and every week. I mean, just Charlie, his brutal candidness, insight, and talking about the O-line, you really appreciate it. And I thought very honest in saying, it's not just one guy. I mean, it is across that unit right now that they are not doing their part. And honestly, I'd point to the center maybe more than anyone, considering how much money you're paying him. I know he's a little bit banged up, but I think there's been some major struggles right at the gut. And number 78, Ryan Kelly's not played to the level that you need him.
And Kelly would own up to that, just like Jeff. He's going to say it like it is. He's going to be accountable. I think what I heard from Jeff, too, he believes in this offensive line, that ultimately they're going to get it right. But as you said, you can't patch holes when water's coming in from every corner of this wall right now. And I think a lot of fans assumed plugging Eric Fisher in, as Saturday mentioned, really incredible effort to get out there for nearly 50 snaps. It's not as simple as plugging Eric Fisher in at this moment. And without knowing the severity of Braden Smith's foot injury at this time, going down to Tennessee, this storm is not going to slow down anytime soon. And if you can get Kelly right, if you can get Q in the right places and really start having him, drive this line again, that's your best bet at this point, because there's just too many question marks through 2 weeks to feel confident about this group.
Mike, Chris, we'll get to you guys in about 10 minutes. Let's hit a Big O Tires Sports Center update.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Colts lose 27-24. Golden opportunities in the first half to play from ahead. Instead, they squander those chances. They get down at half. Sean McVay's Rams have never lost with a halftime lead. We talked about it all last week. You could not get behind against this football team. Not only did you get behind, but Aaron Donald knocked your quarterback out of the game. Afterwards, here's Big Q, Quentin Nelson, talking about the inability to punch it in from 1 yard out.
It's unacceptable. We, I think, ran the ball 3 out of the 4 times. You got 4 downs to shoot 1 yard, and we weren't successful, and it's unacceptable, and we need to be better in that situation. And I don't know, we got to block them better and just get in there, punch it in.
We can blame, I think, 2 areas, Charlie. We don't need to say it's all on the O-line or it's all on Frank Reich. You can put equal blame. I don't think Frank Reich helped out his offensive unit in that situation to put them in the most favorable spot to get that 1 yard. But at the same time, I mean, hell, flat out, you're paying these guys it's a 6th overall pick and the 18th overall pick, playing left guard and center. And to Jeff's point, Aaron Donald's a really good football player. We don't think of him as some just gap-eating run stuffer that you don't want a QB sneak it on, for 1 yard. That just inexcusable.
No, it was the difference yesterday. 1 for 4 in terms of red zone trips. And as you said, this offensive line, this team built on bowling people up front. It didn't happen in the most crucial spots yesterday. And that's where we're at after 2 weeks, which is baffling to so many Colts fans that thought Wentz and maybe the secondary were going to be the biggest questions, and they've held up pretty well. It's a head scratcher.
If you guys missed the Jeff Saturday interview, Mark will replay that here to round out our show today. He, I thought was pretty honest in the concerns over Carson Wentz if he does indeed have a serious ankle sprain. Again, of the next 3 games, at Titans, at Dolphins, at Ravens, nothing is bigger than Sunday. You talk about the AFC South and the gift of that division.
Yep.
Boy, this is about as must-win as it gets for Week 3.
It is, and can you begin to turn the script and take this division back into your hands. That was the expectation this year. This was not a wild card team. This is a division-winning team. And the fact is, after 2 weeks, we have nothing to say that ultimately that's going to happen this season.
3 winless teams in the AFC. The Colts are one of them. Jacksonville and the New York Jets as well. Looking around the NFL in Week 2, how about that comeback by the Titans? Just a wild game, overtime. The Titans actually punted to start overtime. Then they get a stop, and Randy Bullock, a little erratic at times, but he hits the game-winning field goal, so the Titans even their record at 1-1. And I fell asleep in the fourth quarter. I don't know about you guys, but
it's getting a little late.
It was getting a little late for me, and all of a sudden, Lamar Jackson, 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns for the Ravens. They shut out the Chiefs in the fourth quarter. They come back and win. So now you got Kansas City and Baltimore both at 1-1.
Yeah, Jackson had some just errors himself early with the picks, but the star power late and the 4th-and-1 call, I love the Harbaugh exchange. Lamar, do you want to go for this thing? He is incredible, and a team we're going to see on Monday Night Football here. Goodness, Kevin. I mean, Miami, the worst team you're going to see through 5 weeks, a 10-win team last season. It's beginning to feel very real, this beginning of the schedule.
We've talked about, can you get to 2-3 after the first 5?
Yes.
Can one of those 2 be Tennessee?
We'd take it right now, obviously.
And now you obviously have the quarterback injury carrot that is dangling over this football team. MRI results should come today on Carson Wentz. College football, Indiana, unfortunately, a very IU football fan-like in the result of that one on Saturday. You're up 14-0. You're controlling the game. Frankly, you're dominating time of possession. That Cincinnati defense looked like they were wilting out there. And everything changes with that Micah McFadden targeting call. He gets ejected from the game. And, did IU do enough in the second half to finish off that game, win that football game? No. But, Charlie, I think when you see a targeting call like that, I hate the rule, but it's also just a reminder of where IU is at as a program of, you just don't have enough depth right now. Or, frankly, I don't think your culture is ready to just handle the adversity that comes with such a loss.
That's really well said. I mean, to have that big of a ripple effect, I know it's your captain on defense, and I know Cincinnati had, I think, 2 first downs up until that point. Tom Allen admitted it. What are you going to do when life's unfair? Post-game press conference, I thought it was a great line. And it was just a complete collapse. And when you aren't getting the quarterback play from Michael Penix Jr., that, of course, is the number one question going forward. Gutted for folks that turned out in droves. Crowd, again, fantastic. Crowds were undefeated this weekend, Kevin. Unfortunately, the teams
Bloomington is forcing false starts right and left there early in that
was
game.
Fun early, man.
You starting Jack Tuttle Saturday night?
No, I'm giving Penix a start, and then at the first sign of trouble, it is Tuttle's game going forward, and then we'll make that decision from there.
Speaking of trouble, that Big Ten East division, a little bit different than how it looked last year. Penn State looks like a pretty legit team.
Michigan State, too.
Looks much better. Michigan State beats Miami. Rutgers is a team that I think is going to be a tough challenge. I know Ohio State is not at that peak level, but that rest of the division looks much better than it did last year. All right, in South Bend, Notre Dame beats the Boilers 27-13. Obviously, hope David Bell is okay after taking that shot late in the game from Kyle Hamilton. Notre Dame missed some chances kind of early in that game. Finally, Jack Cohn hits Avery Davis over the top there in the third quarter. And, man, Purdue makes a quarterback switch. It just, Purdue just never had that killer instinct in the second half to really put serious game pressure on Notre Dame.
Yeah, I was interested with the quarterback switch. Brahms said, look, Plummer had taken a ton of hits, and thankfully you're walking away with hopefully a healthy David Bell. That was the update, up walking around with his teammates. He had posted on social media. Just an awkward hit, Kev.
Yeah.
I've never seen a face mask bounce off the turf like that. That was beyond frightening at the moment in South Bend, and we know David Bell is one of our favorites. As you said, Purdue, a couple winnable games next. Bowl contention. You can be 4-1.
Yeah.
And coming off last year, that is a huge improvement considering how dark things looked at this time last season.
Yeah, Kyle Hamilton, number 14 for Notre Dame, was everywhere.
Draft him.
Fourth down stop. Yeah, seriously.
The pick in the end zone?
Yeah, the pick in the end zone to ice it. Kyron Williams, just a grown man run to help cap that.
Shout out the drum.
Irish.
We're thinking about you. Hope you made it home safe.
I hate Notre
We can
Dame
put
for
that
not
to bed.
allowing that drum in the building. Just so high and mighty. Just pisses me off. Major League Baseball, speaking of things that piss me off, the Reds have now lost 8 straight series. And, here we are with, 2 weeks ago in the season, and, the Cardinals are going to make the playoffs, and there's, no doubt in my mind.
Is this worse than just having the Reds out of contention for you?
Yes, 100%.
Really?
Just a slow death of 8 straight series, and all of them 2-1 results.
Yeah.
And here are the Cardinals, 3 games up.
Dude, I feel for you, man. This was my life as a Cubs fan growing up. They would stick you, they'd keep you around in August, and then it would just be a gut punch. I lived this for a decade plus, Kevin.
Don't look now, but here come the Red Legs.
Yep. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark Dykton.
Mark Dykton.
We tried warning you. As Cubs fans, we tried warning you.
It's 8:30 in the East, and Mark is ready to just make this a miserable Monday
Who
for
won
KB.
our fantasy football matchup this week, Mark?
Yeah, okay.
The Reds go Pirates, Nationals, White Sox, Pirates to close things out.
Tell me there's a chance.
The Cardinals go Brewers, Cubs, Brewers, Cubs. So I am a diehard Cubs fan here over these final 2 weeks. So
Patrick Wisdom.
Hopefully the Iowa Cubs
in studio
can get things done. IndyCar Laguna Seca, Colton Herta gets a win. Again, he's deserved several of these this year, but gets his second win of the season. Alex Palou, he might be young and experienced, but man, he has looked extremely steady these last 2 races and retaking the series lead from Pato O'Ward and then padding it yesterday, up 35 on O'Ward, up 48 on Joseph Newgarden going into the final race of the year Sunday in Long Beach. Basically, outside of Alex Palou finishing 12th, 13th, and Newgarden or Pato O'Ward winning, Alex Palou is going to be your series champ.
Let's make it clear. There's still pressure on. He hasn't been in this situation. 24-year-old. He has the runner-up at the Indy 500. Didn't break his way. Can you ultimately get this thing done? I mean, this is where you separate the champions from the guys who have been right there. I think Palou gets it done. But, Kevin, it's been a wacky season. Do not be surprised if something doesn't go his way and we see Pato O'Ward ultimately. Pato said, look, I'm going for the win. He is one of the most fearless drivers we've ever seen on the circuit. I'm not ready to chalk this one up to Palou just yet.
3 o'clock green flag on Sunday there. We come back on the Fan Morning Show. It's Charlie Clifford from Wish TV joining us here for the next 3 mornings. And myself, Kevin Bowen, we'll get to some phone calls that we haven't hit on yet and talk a few positives because I thought the Colts definitely played better in week 2 than they did in week 1, but also need to mention the elephant in the room right now, and that is the Colts simply failing the quarterback they've invested so much in this offseason. You're listening to the Fan Morning Show, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
This is Unibet, one of Europe's leading betting apps. And this is Nigel.
Hello.
Nigel has just been promoted from head of Unibet Europe to head of Unibet US. Nigel doesn't know anything about American sports.
QB Scramble. That's some sort of American frittata?
Download the app or visit in.unibet.com. Get $500 risk-free and take advantage of the odds. Before Nigel figures them out. Unibet. Crazy about the odds.
Must be 21 or over to play and physically located in Indiana. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
What's up, everybody? This is Jeff Saturday, and you've heard me talk about More Restoration for years. I've used More Restoration on my home 3 times for a fire and flooding. I care about my family, and More made me feel confident in using them. Kenny and the team at More have just become a part of First On Site, making them one of the largest restoration companies in Indiana and North America. Same people, same personal customer service, but large enough to handle any loss, any disaster with First On Site. Call the people Jeff Saturday calls. Call More Restoration, a First On Site company.
With my guy Charlie Clifford in studio. I know he's an apartment guy downtown, but I'm trying to talk him in about the world of refinancing when it's time to buy that home. I'm talking about the savings you can make when refinancing with Golden Oak Lending. That is their goal. At Golden Oak Lending, they speak mortgage and love translating it for customers. With rates this low, now is the time to see what experienced local loan officers can translate for you. Even if you refinance as recently as last year, Golden Oak might be able to lower your interest rate even further and help you discover any untapped equity in your home. Right now, home values are high, and their rates are historically low at 2.25%. But it won't be like this forever. Find out how much you could save with Zipline, Golden Oak Lending's fast and easy online mortgage tool. The average cash-out customer saves $904 a month. You can skip 2 mortgage payments, and with Golden Oak's appraisal guarantee, you never pay for an appraisal up front. And if they can't close the loan for any reason, the appraisal is no charge. No matter your unique situation or goals, you have an expert lending partner for life in Golden Oak Lending. Apply from the comfort of your home with their speedy zipline tool at goldenoaklending.com. NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Running a business comes with pressure. Remote workforces, HR compliance, retaining top talent. You start to feel boxed in. Fortunately, there's Insperity. They put 30-plus years of HR service and technology to work, offering my employees competitive benefit options while lightening my HR load. Instead of obstacles, I'm surrounded by people empowered to be their best. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
So then I dropped some garlic and croutons on there, and the rest is salad history. I made the best salad ever, people, and now I'm making the best app. The Caesar Sportsbook app got live in-game betting, parlays, and Caesar rewards. Caesar salad ain't got nothing on my app. Nothing!
Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Download the Caesar Sportsbook app. Your app is ready, Emperor.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for indie sports. Now with even more ways to listen.
Listen on air.
Online at 1075thefan.com.
And on our free app.
Stay connected to all things indie sports, including the latest news, show blogs, and catch up on what you've missed with our podcast.
We're never more than just a click away.
Download our app at Google Play and on the App Store. From your home for indie sports.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
And 107.5 The Fan.
And welcome back. Fan Morning Show, Kevin Bowen, Charlie Clifford from Wish TV joining us here on the Fan Morning Show Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We'll have a lot to get into with Charlie the next 2 days outside of just Colts reactionary to, I don't know, are we at DEF CON with the fan base?
No.
Fan base, are we?
No. 2 weeks, Kevin. Okay? You played winning football yesterday. You could have won that game. Had that been a blowout loss, I think many Colts fans thought this is going to be Stafford over Wentz, and I thought we were going to be plugged with the phone lines today. Why didn't we go out and get Matt Stafford? That is not the takeaway. Carson Wentz showed you why his ceiling is still a place you're very excited about. That 11-play drive in particular, as you mentioned earlier during the 7 o'clock hour, making plays out of the pocket, making elite plays on the run, under pressure, ultimately getting it in on third down to Zach Pascal when you had been atrocious thanks to your offensive line and your play calling earlier in the game. Would you rather have an 0-2 start where Wentz has looked absolutely baffled, your line's been solid, the defense been solid, but the quarterback you brought in has been atrocious? Or would you rather have these new concerns and feel pretty good about where you're at with Carson Wentz? Let's look at it that way before we really start running away and saying, oh my gosh, we have to go to Tennessee and Jacob Eason may have to win a game. Give Carson Wentz some credit here and have a little faith that your offensive line, which you've already invested with, is going to figure it out. And ultimately, some health is going to come along and play into this as well, hopefully with Darius Leonard at linebacker and ultimately Braden Smith, T.Y. Hilton, and potentially something Ryan Kelly may be dealing with. I think let's keep that in perspective here on Monday morning as it's week 3, people. It's week 3. It's not week 13.
I think that's a good point you make about Wentz. You know, Corey chimes in here and says, this is just a great comment I couldn't agree more with. He goes, honestly, can't believe how good Wentz has been. And the fact he's been that good and we are 0-2 means we got some serious problems.
And it's true.
I mean,
and they're glaring problems.
I think that's spot on. What worries me, though, moving forward, Charlie, is just like the more you get behind the 8 ball and your margin for error shrinks, and I don't care what your schedule looks like, and the Colts schedule certainly softens up here moving forward, but like rattling off 7 of 8, 6 of 8, 7 of 9, like that's so difficult to do in this league.
You know why we did that? Is because that was Andrew Luck.
Right.
Okay, that you can't just chalk that up and assume, we can run that back.
And that was an O-line that was intact. That was a run game that was helping out Andrew Luck as well in that 2018 season. So that's where I'm just like, all right, these things are not necessarily growing on trees there. Speaking of optimistic, I think that's something that Chris wanted to hit on. Let's get to Chris. What's up, Chris?
Hey, guys. Good morning. I'm still scratching my head on our Derek, I believe, 6-game.
Hello.
Yeah.
Chris, you were breaking up a little bit. Continue.
Sorry, can you hear me? Yeah, I just wanted to actually be optimistic. How many games or how many plays do you guys think we really are? Could you count them from being 2-0? How many plays would you count?
I'd say there was a good amount in that Seattle game.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Rams game, you could count them on one hand. But Seattle, you got handled for 60 minutes. We lose him again? Oh, he hung up. Okay, gotcha. Well,
no, the Seattle, that's not fair to say.
Maybe he
that
realized
was even
that comment wasn't going there. Yeah, it's the Colts played better in week 2. Again, where some of my concern comes, again, Charlie, is just now your quarterback is hurt. Quentin Nelson and Darius Leonard, I frankly think these are just kind of chronic things that are going to be here all year long. I don't necessarily see an opportunity for them to get healthy, because we got to remember, the bye week is the latest of any in the NFL.
Yeah, it's deep.
Not till December. Your mini bye, the Thursday nighter, that doesn't come until early November. So I think that is where it's a little bit concerning. It's you have played 2 very tough teams, without a doubt, but you have lost 2 straight at home, and now some injuries are piling up at key spots. When do these guys get healthy? Paris Campbell's now hurt again. Like, those are, I think, where some of your concern is just like, yes, you're in the AFC South, but if you lose Sunday, you're 2 games behind Tennessee, 2 more on the road. You still got 2 more NFC West games. It's just the margin for error, man.
I know.
It shouldn't be shrinking this much in September.
It's tough to be positive, and I know that kills Colts fans out here because there was so much optimism. The line is set. Carson and Quentin somehow get back for week 1. I go back to what Jeff Saturday said, and this was surprising to me. He's saying sometimes a really bad sprain is worse than a break. Is that what he was alluding to there?
That's what he said. And again, for those that missed it, we'll replay that interview around 9:40.
Now, I took some positivity away post-game yesterday. Wentz coming to the podium without a boot, clearly in pain, not moving well. But the fact that he spoke told me that, okay, there's probably not a break there. The fact that he was in really good spirits for the most parts after what was a brutal loss. You take the injury away. I'll go back to the last call. Yes, there were probably 4 or 5 plays there that if they go the other way, that's a win yesterday. And if Wentz walks away healthy, this show this morning is suddenly a completely different deal with, oh my gosh, we just beat an LA Rams team that I think 95% of the city yesterday walked into that game saying, this ain't happening. Yeah. This ain't happening. So let's keep that in perspective as well. You played well enough to win, but ultimately everything hinges on timeline for Wentz because Jacob Eason going up against the Titans defense, going down to Miami. I know they got absolutely rolled yesterday, and we don't know the severity of Tua Tagovailoa's injury just yet. And then 2 Baltimore on Monday night. You get a little breather with Houston before heading out to the Sunday night date with Jimmy Garoppolo and a Niners team that looks totally reloaded as well.
And then you face Tennessee again on Halloween.
Kev, this is not the schedule of any of the last 3 seasons. There's a little debt to be paid, okay, with the easy schedule. Let's just face it. What I felt like the last 3 seasons, you are getting hit in the mouth this year off the bat. How much can you weather this storm under these circumstances?
You know, that's a little big picture too as well, Charlie, but you are potentially walking down a slope where it's like, all right, if Wentz is banged up, he gets banged up again, you know, how much are you properly evaluating his season moving forward? Because right now, when healthy, certainly looks like a guy more than capable of being your quarterback for the next X amount of years.
Without question.
But if those injuries start to pile up, you know, when do you get into a situation now where it's like, gosh, this guy's had 7 or 8 different injuries over his football career, and you've made such a serious investment there. Let's go to Jeff. He wants to talk about the O-line. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, guys. Hey, a few points, okay? O-line, I think even over the last 3 years, we may not have given up the sacks, but there always seems to be a lot of pressure on our quarterbacks. So I'm not sold on the O-line being all this, but if everybody else is, I'll go with that. Here's the two biggest points I got to make. You know, I told Dockage last week, I said, the first week, we did no misdirection, and that's what the NFL is all about. The first drive, we had all kinds of misdirection until we got down to the 1 yard line. I'm 56 years old. I could have bootlegged and walked into the end zone, okay? I don't know why more NFL teams don't do bootlegs on like that when everybody's packed in. I've never seen a quarterback not walk in. And so the play calling was atrocious on first and goal on the 1. Absolutely awful. And then the last comment I'll make, here's a big problem with the Colts. If you watch the Baltimore-Kansas City game, you've got athletes on the field, okay? We've got football players. We don't have an athlete at wide receiver. We don't have an athlete at definitely tight end. We probably got maybe an athlete in Hines in the backfield. You got to have athletes. They look so much faster than we do. We look slow, and if you're not mimicking what those teams are doing, you're going to be stuck in not winning very many games. So
I think that's a great point that you make, and I appreciate the call. Like I've said this about Chris Ballard's roster building process. This roster building process does not mimic a lot of teams from around the league, in that when you look at the positions that seemingly are the elite positions on the best teams in the league, wide receiver, left tackle, edge rush, quarterback, whether it is a tight end like Travis Kelce, the Colts just don't have that. There are not a lot of young stars in particular at that position. We just talked about the pass rush. 4 draft picks in the first 2 rounds. Kwity Paye, Tyquan Lewis, Kamoko Turi, Ben Banogu. 1 QB hit in 88 snaps yesterday.
It's the most glaring mark on Ballard's record as GM, the defensive line, with the exception of the DeForest Buckner trade, obviously, which may ultimately go down as his best move. I'll give him a pass on the left tackle, the Anthony Costanzo retirement.
Yeah, I can't go there. It was a missed opportunity the past few years to find a young tackle to groom. You felt like Costanzo was whatever, going to keep on playing, even though he said that he thought about retirement, and now you got a bunch of cast-offs from other teams. Where's the young 4th-round pick tackle?
I don't know if I'm calling Fisher a cast-off necessarily, but...
No, I'm talking about the depth pieces that you've had behind Costanzo that you now have needed. When you signed Fisher, you knew he wasn't going to be ready for the start of the season. Right. So I go to past drafts and the missed opportunities there. Whiteout, I think we saw it yesterday. Pittman, definitely a positive moving forward, but the Paris Campbell pick looks like an absolute bust at this point due to health concerns, obviously. So that's where I think you're at right now with Ballard. There are some positions on this team that are very, very good, and there is depth, but at the most important spots in this league, that's where you're lacking right now. He's Charlie Clifford. I'm Kevin Bone. We got to hit a break here on the Fan Morning Show. Get to a few more calls, and we come back as well. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan. Sign up today at BetMGM and enjoy the thrill of victory on your very first bet. The King of Sportsbooks welcomes you to Showtime with the lock of the year. Simply place a $10 moneyline wager on either the Lions or Green Bay, and if either team scores a touchdown, you'll win $200 in free bets, regardless of your bet's outcome. Just use the bonus code THEFAN200, that's all one word, capital T, capital F, when you make your first bet to take advantage of this offer. Enjoy football like never before with BetMGM's live betting options, boosted odds specials, and daily promotions at your fingertips all season long. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com. And again, that's bonus code THEFAN200 to win $200 in free bets if either the Lions or Green Bay scores a touchdown. Nothing beats a W at BetMGM. New customer offer, paid in free bets. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Indiana only, must be 21 or older to wager. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
We go out as a group of guys, some former players, and they are just blown away with how great my hair looks. I did the multi-unit hair grafting because I was tired of having to wear a hat.
My friend Rick DeMully, Indiana's own former professional football player, and I both know We Grow Hair Indy is the most trusted medical hair restoration clinic and the only company in the Midwest that has the ARTIST robotic FUE and multi-unit hair grafting. Call 888-724-5129 or go to WeGrowHairIndy.com. We Grow Hair Indy PRP Treatments helps me keep my non-transplanted hair. Takes about 45 minutes, and this busy world, it's perfect.
Having the hair that I have now has just given me confidence and just making me feel good about myself.
This year, restore your confidence and grow your hair back. Call for a free in-office or virtual evaluation. 888-724-5129 or WeGrowHairIndy.com. Today, that's 888-724-5129.
Hey, it's Big Joe for Big O Tires with locations in Plainfield, Lebanon, Mooresville, Brownsburg, Whitestown, and Indy at 86 and Zionsville Road. My family loves Big O because they offer free multi-point vehicle inspections for fall, no credit needed financing so you're covered no matter what your budget, and Big O is more than just tires. Problems with brakes, batteries, alignments, oil changes, fluids, and more can also be remedied. And now through October 10th, save up to $150 on Nitto, Toyo, Continental, Pirelli, and Cooper tires at the team you trust, Big O Tires.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook is ready to make this football season one to remember. All season long, you can score at Bet Rivers Sportsbook with free bets, odds boosts, and more. With player props, thousands of game lines, and live in-game betting, Bet Rivers Sportsbook delivers a best-in-class sports betting experience and has an experienced customer service team to back it up. Visit Bet Rivers Sportsbook today and bet this football season with a local trusted team that puts you first. Go to BetRivers.com and be a winner. Partner of French Lick Casino Resort. Must be 21 or over. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448. Playable only in Indiana.
Follow me, son. I want to show you something that most homeowners only dream about. It's Larry Howald. Legend has it that Howald Heating and Air Conditioning and Carrier have made thousands of people comfy cozy in their homes.
So what is he, Dad, a mattress salesman?
No, son, he's not a mattress salesman. But he does work for the best heating and air conditioning company in town. Howald Heating, Air, and Carrier always come through delivering comfy, cozy feels for everyone. Turn to the experts with Carrier Howald Heating and Air Conditioning, where coming home never felt so good.
When it comes to working at Geico, our best advocates are our employees, like Justina. But since she is so focused on growing her career, we hired an actor to read her story.
At Geico, I receive support from those above me. If you want to move up, you really have that relationship and encouragement.
As a full-time employee, she can even get paid training and tuition reimbursement. Yep, there's no stopping her now. She's even taken over book club.
Ready to start your career, Indy? We're hiring claim sales and service agents. Apply online today at geico.job/Indy.
Get Wendy's bacon or sausage, egg, and Swiss breakfast croissant for $1.99. This hot buttery croissant is fluffy enough to sleep on. Wakey, wakey, get a better breakfast for just $1.99. Only at Wendy's.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Third-party delivery prices may vary. Not following the combo.
Hey, join me today. It was a monster weekend. A lot of fun. A lot of things going on. Sean Salisbury and I are going to break down all of the football and get you ready for the upcoming week. I can't wait. Let's go.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Yeah, it's myself and Charlie Clifford the next 3 mornings here on the Fan Morning Show. Charlie from Wish TV does an outstanding job over there. I felt like, speaking of outstanding, we want to go positive. Maybe the biggest individual positive yesterday was probably Michael Pittman.
8 targets, 8 catches right off the bat. The last call that came in, I know there's a concern of game-breaking playmakers. The potential's there for Michael Pittman Jr. I loved his demeanor after the game, too. The sky is not falling. Clearly, he's on the right page with Carson Wentz, and he's your number one guy. He also went out of his way to say, look, I don't look at it as number 1, number 2, number 3. I'm not trying to fill the shoes of T.Y. Hilton, although that torch has been passed. There's no question about that.
Oh, yeah.
I love the toughness with Michael Pittman Jr. Watch him on blocking plays, finishing blocks. There was a mentality there that spills over from Quentin Nelson and the offensive line that we were used to outside of the 2 games to start this season. Mad props to Pittman Jr. after a really quiet week 1. I thought he was the difference on the offense yesterday in terms of the big plays down the field.
Yeah, I've always said this about Michael Pittman. There's no USC pretty boy to his game.
No, man.
And you see
he's tough.
He's the son of an NFL running back as well. Like you said, 8 catches, 123. I watched that 42-yarder that, again, you just got to take chances down the field. Good things will happen when you take chances. They take that shot on 3rd and 14. Wentz does a great job standing in there taking a hit from Donald. But Pittman did a great job of spotting that ball very early, coming back to it a little bit, high-pointed it, made the play. When you get down in the red zone, Charlie, again, a back shoulder to Pittman, jump ball to Mo Alley Cox, a back shoulder to Mike Strawn, getting Hines into a one-on-one situation. The old adage of players not plays when you get down into that area of the field.
No question.
I think that has got to be there. So I know Pittman had a drop or two, but when you talk about a guy that has had a ton of work with Carson Wentz this offseason and Jacob Eason, if we are going to see Eason for whatever stretch of time here moving forward, it's definitely Michael Pittman. All right, I know Keo, is that where we're going with, Mark? Keo, welcome to the Fan Morning Show.
What's going on, man?
Hope I'm saying that right.
Yes, you got it right. I have a question for Frank Reich. I'm tired of him saying we're going to get better. We got to get better. The question is, when will we get better?
Go ahead, Keo. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
My
question for Frank Reich is, when will we get better? He's always saying we got to get better. When will that happen?
Yeah, I think what really hurts right now, Charlie, with the whole Frank Reich thing is, as an NFL coach, you can be one of two kind of coaches. It seems like the majority of the league is one of two coaches. One, you're the guru on offense, a la Sean McVay, or you're like the CEO. You're the John Harbaugh, you're the Belichick, you're the Mike Tomlin. You kind of manage everything. So Frank would fall into the offensive category.
No question.
He doesn't manage everything. He allows Matt Eberflus to do his thing. If that's going to be your duty, and that duty is not an advantage for your football team, you are hurting your football team. And right now, Frank Reich, I would say, has been outcoached in the first 2 weeks of the season by Pete Carroll and Sean McVay. And there's a trickle-down effect, I think, and really, I think in the defensive facet as well, you've been outcoached. Special teams, I don't know, I guess you probably have won there. Hot Rod is a bright spot through
been the MVP through 2 weeks
through
here.
A couple weeks, but that's where I think Frank is. I do think he can give you an advantage offensively. We've seen that at times. I mentioned it earlier. The red zone has not been a chronic issue for this football team under Frank Reich, but right now it is an issue. And if Frank is not giving you that advantage offensively, now your team does not have an advantage on the sideline, and you've got too many injuries and too many personnel issues right now for that to happen.
Sean McVay is not going to give you an advantage if you can't provide any protection to your quarterback.
Fair.
There's no greater precursor to offensive success than having time in the pocket. We saw Matt Stafford playing a 7-on-7 drill when the Colts couldn't provide any heat on him. And suddenly in that second half, what happens? Muhammad gets in for a sack. Buckner starts disrupting plays. You have a completely different feel for this game. It's up front. I will put it on Frank Reich in the red zone, as you've said. Hasn't been the long-term concern. It was on him yesterday, in my opinion. There was no creativity. There was no chance for your playmakers to make plays. But back to the call. What do you expect from Frank Reich? You've heard this now for 4 seasons. He's going to stay positive.
Yeah, Frank publicly is never going to go.
You're not going to get that.
Where you
know what? You're going to keep waiting until they play better on the field, and ultimately the script's just not going to change because Frank is not a guy who is going to challenge his players through the media. So that's something you're just going to have to stomach here in Indianapolis for the long haul.
Let's get to Tracy. I know Tracy wanted to touch on this Frank Reich situation as well. What's up, Tracy?
Hey, guys. Hey, I just think Frank Reich's in-game decision-making is terrible. I mean, I'm going back to the playoff game at Buffalo last year. We lost by 3. We went for it on 4th and there. I know we missed a field goal. Then we started last week, the first game of the season, and we're doing the same stuff. And then we did it again yesterday. The NFL is a game where you have to accumulate points all game long to see how many you have at the end. And we just keep passing up points left and right. I don't know why field goals have become a bad thing. It just don't make sense to me.
Appreciate it, Tracy. I just think, I know that's where a lot of people are coming from. I think it's a very individual situation, week in and week out. I had no issue with them going for the the touchdown in the opening drive of the game. You're on the 1 yard line. You've invested all this in your O-line. It's more of the execution, the play call, where I have the issue, because look at the Rams. Look at the Seahawks last week. These teams score touchdowns. And you're going to find, different parts of the game. You saw it last night with Baltimore and Kansas City, where teams go for it on 4th down, and it works for them. So I just don't know if it's a blanket statement of every 4th down, you must kick a field goal there. I don't think you're that explosive of an offense right now to just sit there and say, yeah, if you're going to kick field goals all game long, you're going to be there. If you don't get the gift from the Rams of the punt, turned into a touchdown there, you don't have it as a 3-point game late.
No, that comment is simply a result of if it backfires, you're going to take the heat. If it works, you're the next genius. The only 4th down I've had an issue with through 2 weeks is the one that would have made it an 8-point game last week, where you kick the field goal. It's a 1-score game. Let's go. Instead, you don't get it, and you're still chasing 11. Going back to last year in Buffalo, yes, there were baffling calls really in the red zone when you had a chance to put that game away. But ultimately, Kevin, this seems to be the reoccurring theme here this morning through all the calls. The heat's on Frank Reich. And to me, until you get that offensive line play, he's not a magician, man. I don't think you have enough game-breaking players to camouflage the issues up front, and it's that simple as of right now. Obviously, adding Carson's ankle on top of that as now the top priority for week 3.
I think we can separate the decision-makings to go on 4th down and the actual play calls that come out of 4th down as well. He's Charlie Clifford. I'm Kevin Bowen. We'll be back on the Fan Morning Show to get more into this and why the Colts are failing Carson Wentz through 2 weeks. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Hey, it's AMV for the brand new CarX Tire and Auto at 455 East Northfield Drive in Brownsburg, with a grand opening special including lifetime brakes for $109.99. CarX.com today.
Hubler has cars. Shop all of your favorite brands in store or online with express car buying and instant upfront pricing. Visit drivehubler.com.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. Labor and trade unions have been instrumental in establishing this country's workforce culture. That's why we are so excited to bring you the Union Loan Program. If you work in a union, any union, at closing, we give you a $500 gift card. That's how we say thank you for all the hard work. Mortgage rates are in the 2s. Apply for your union loan today at thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
It's been a great start to the NFL season. It's only getting better at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. DraftKings is kicking off another week of action by giving all new customers a can't-miss offer. Bet just $1 on any football game this week and receive $150 in free bets instantly, no matter what. And this football season, all customers can swing big with DraftKings same-game parlays. Same-game parlays allow you to combine multiple bets for a bigger payout. This week, place a same-game parlay on any NFL game, and you will be credited up to $25 if your bet loses. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code WFNI to receive $150 in free bets instantly when you place a $1 bet on any football game. That's code WFNI. This week at DraftKings Sportsbook, you got to be 21 or older. Indiana only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
What's up, everybody? This is Jeff Saturday, and you've heard me talk about More Restoration for years. I've used More Restoration on my home 3 times for a fire and flooding. I care about my family, and More made me feel confident in using them. Kenny and the team at More have just become a part of First On Site, making them one of the largest restoration companies in Indiana and North America. Same people, same personal customer service, but large enough to handle any loss, any disaster with First On Site. Call the people Jeff Saturday calls. Call More Restoration, a First On Site company.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
It's the Fan Morning Show.
We'll have some classes at times.
Hey, we're calling the plays, all right?
Hey, we got to run the ball. It's down there.
We'll run the ball.
Can we run it down
there?
Can we run it down
Yeah, Jeff.
Okay, so
we will. All right, we're going to call pass plays. Block.
With Kevin Bowen.
Boom, baby.
On 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
And welcome back to the Fan Morning Show. We'll be catching up with Jeff Saturday. If you missed that, we will replay that a little bit later in this hour. Charlie Clifford from Wish TV is going to be with us today, tomorrow, and Wednesday as well. Love Charlie's work there, and if you guys haven't seen or heard him, even on our airwaves, you will hear him each of the next 3 mornings, so looking forward to that as well. 317-239-1070, at KBowen1070 on Twitter, at, was it CliffWish8?
Yes, sir. Appreciate the love.
CliffWish8 there on Twitter. One box score note that I wanted to throw at you. They believe he's the 11th highest paid running back in the NFL now. Nyheim Hines. 1 carry, 1 catch. To be fair, 1 ball did go off his hands. I believe that was kind of
It was a high throw from Wentz, third down throw.
I thought he got 2 hands on it, though. Yeah, I mean, Wentz certainly could have put it more on the numbers, but, you know, when you get 2 hands on it, and I felt like he kind of led Hines. I thought that ball should have been caught, but that's not really the debate for me. It's, frankly, just 2 touches. 2 touches for Nyheim Hines when, I mean, hell, you had a ton of offensive snaps for the game, and you're looking at a guy that is an extremely versatile weapon. We had the caller earlier, which I thought was really accurate about this team just kind of lacks some individual playmakers in one-on-one settings. I think he certainly fits that mold. 67 offensive snaps and just 2 touches for your most versatile weapon, and a guy that, frankly, he's got to touch the ball more.
Definitely a question that needs to be answered today from Frank Reich. Yesterday, obviously, pretty much the first half of Reich's post-game availability. What's the status of your quarterback? The decision to put Eason in. Why couldn't Wentz go late? How do you handle it from here? And then the majority from there on out, how do you evaluate the offensive line and your ability to create big plays when you don't have any time and Wentz is seemingly having to roll out, escape pressure, as you mentioned, throughout the second half? So, yes, is Hines the biggest takeaway from that loss? No, but as you said, 2 touches needs to be more when outside of Michael Pittman Jr., you really have nothing outside of Zach Pascal, again, being clutch in the red zone. Interesting, Kevin. I didn't know that until you brought that up this morning.
And both occurred on the final drive of the first half, Charlie. So when you think about that, that's 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's kind of hustle plays, dumping off. He's your go-to blanket guy
in those areas.
Right.
The fact that he wasn't involved at any other point, very, very head-scratching to me there. Let's get to Robert. Robert, welcome to the Fan Morning Show.
Hey, how you guys doing this morning?
Doing good. How are you?
Good to hear from you.
I'm okay. I think it's quite simple. A lot of times as fans and other observers, we like to make it more difficult than what it is. This is not 80s or early 90s football when Jim Harbaugh was here, and Jack Trudeau. You got to stop the quarterback and you have to score points. And quite frankly, when we played 500 and above teams, the percentage of completion has got to be over 70%.
Oh, yeah.
They can, we're not getting no type of stops on the defensive side of the ball, and we're not scoring, at the pace that we need to, to score at. You got to score at least 30 points, and I think all of our receivers and our running backs, except just running the ball, I think Michael Pittman's the number 2 receiver. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not his fault. He didn't, come in and pick it what he wanted to be. But I just watching the game, he's a number 2 receiver to me. You look at the guys that was drafted in his class last year, they're making touchdowns or they're either making a ton of catching and yards. Michael Pittman has 1 touchdown.
Thank you, Robert. Appreciate the call there. To his point about obviously it's not the 1980s and whatnot. In today's NFL, Charlie, you got to do 2 things. You got to disrupt the quarterback, and you have to support your own quarterback. And right now, I don't think the Colts are doing either of those things.
No.
Probably one of the more damning stats through the first 2 weeks, or just kind of storylines, has been the fact that this team is so built to run it and stop it, and they haven't done that. Taylor, Hines, we saw Marlon Mack yesterday. Marlon Mack had
5 carries?
Yeah, 5 carries for 16 yards, so 3.2 per average.
And I think 3 of those are second half, like you're trying to take the lead here, and okay, it's Marlon Mack back there. I just thought the way they worked him in that's not the way I would have envisioned it, but.
And the Rams go with 2 running backs yesterday. They are over 4 yards per carry. And I don't think we look at the Rams as some vaunted rushing attack. Obviously, Cam Akers, their star, getting hurt back before the start of training camp. So right now, how you're supposed to be built, which, again, I've had a debate of are you built the right way, but how they are built is not working out for them. This has been a team that has stopped the run at an extremely high level under Matt Eberflus before DeForest Buckner got here. It went up a notch when you had Buckner. And now Chris Carson and Darrell Henderson and Sony Michel, they have given the opponent offensive balance that is very, very difficult to stop. So when you couple that in with the lack of pass rush and the wide receivers, I don't think are aiding Carson, and certainly the offensive line has its issues as well. It's just a recipe right now where you're not going to be beating the top teams in the league.
Now, at least yesterday, we did see a glimpse of the defense. 3 series there, 3 and outs. We did see that, I don't want to call it the ceiling, but we didn't get that against the Seattle Seahawks. As you said, I felt Carson, if we're going to specifically talk about the running game, there was an improvement yesterday a little bit. The drives that the Rams had that resulted in points, yes, it did look like the floodgates were open and, there was nothing between Cooper Kupp and the running game. But there was at least a glimpse of, okay, the run's been shut down. Stafford's under pressure. At least we have a nugget of that to take away. So that's a positive. But to your point, defensive line, we've gone over it. Outside of Buckner, there are questions across the board. Offensive line, your QB hits, the discrepancy between Carson Wentz hit 21 times through 2 weeks?
Correct. Yep. 6 sacks.
6 sacks, 21 hits. What you have standing on the other side, not remotely close. I know that number is not close to double digits in terms of quarterback hits.
3 QB hits yesterday against Matthew Stafford.
Okay, 1 sack from Muhammad. So polar opposites there. And ultimately, you're not getting enough big plays or gaffes from the other team. The lone mistake through 2 games from the opposition has been the botched punt yesterday on the snap, which was an absolute gift. So it's up front right now through 2 weeks. And as you said, all the chatter, everything this team's been built on, the blueprint is we win there, and then the rest will take care of itself. When that falls apart, this is what you look at after 2 weeks.
Ken is optimistic about the Colts. Ken, welcome to the Fan Morning Show.
Hey, good morning, guys. Just real quick. I know the Colts may have seen like they weren't playing that well, but they played 2 of the best teams in the NFL. Russell Wilson, top 3 quarterback, if not top 1 and 2. The Rams has the top defense. So coupled with that and showing improvements, I think we're okay. But we have to run the ball more because if everyone will remember when Frank Reich was with Carson Wentz in Philly, he had Jay Ajayi and LeGarrette Blount, who also led the league in touchdowns the year before and won the Super Bowl and was second in touchdowns with Philly. So he had an awesome running game that would help Carson Wentz, so we got to run the ball.
Ken,
That's
thank
money.
you. I had the Colts 1-1 after these first 2 games. Before the year started, I thought they would beat the Rams. Shockingly, I actually picked 27-24 on Friday. I don't know what that gets me, but
dude,
this is something to where right now with where you're at with the Colts, it's just a 1-game difference from where I thought they'd be at this point, Charlie. But I'm not full DEFCON, but I am worried. Because now all of a sudden Carson's banged up, and you do have 3 straight on the road. And it's no guarantee that you just snap your fingers and climb out of 1-4, or if it is 0-5 or something like that. That I think is where the concern is. It's that there have been signs of positivity. Carson Wentz has definitely played better than I thought he would, especially with his lack of support around him. but there's just no guarantee that that's going to continue. There's no guarantee that Carson Wentz is going to stay healthy, and this schedule doesn't offer you many breaks. Even when you get to November, you got Buffalo and Tampa Bay back-to-back weeks. We continue to see an Arizona team that is extremely explosive. Look at the Raiders. You talk about a surprise team through 2 weeks. They go into Pittsburgh and win. They are 2-0. You cannot afford any sort of rough hurdles really the rest of the way, or else you're going to be in the wild card picture, and we know how those tiebreakers can often go.
With the exception of the Texans and the Jags and the Jets, you can look at every other game on this schedule and find a reason and be concerned. I'm leaving yesterday happy had Carson Wentz not got hurt. You brought it right at a championship caliber team. Wentz played well despite having absolutely no consistency up front. And yes, now we need to table everything because you don't know if this is going to be a week. You don't know if this is going to be through the entire road trip. I mean, whatever comes back today, you're rolling with Jacob Eason. And ultimately, that's going to fall on Chris Ballard's plate because this was your plan going in, knowing you're bringing in a quarterback who back to high school has dealt with serious injury concerns, who has missed chunks of games in nearly every season. And clearly it's not for a lack of toughness. Quentin Nelson stood up after the loss yesterday looking as pissed off as I've ever seen Quentin Nelson, saying that Carson Wentz's toughness level is at another level. He has not complained once. He has gotten off the turf. He has run off the field. He has not chewed out anyone on the sidelines. Granted, I'm sure some of the protection stuff, as he mentioned, week one was probably on Wentz. So for me, if this is going to be Eason's deal, that line things need to change in Tennessee, or it will be a 1-4 and 0-5. You're going to be sitting back here at Lucas Oil Stadium in your seat pregame for the Texans thinking, what just happened?
Yeah. And
what has happened?
To Ken's call about the optimism, I think as long as Carson Wentz isn't out too long, there should be reason for some optimism here because you do think a lot of these things are fixable.
Yeah.
Can your O-line start to play better and you punch it in? Well, is this just a little bit of a rut for your run offense, run defense, those sorts of things? But if all of a sudden you've got to roll Eason out there, or frankly, even if you got to roll limited Carson Wentz out there and you're playing these AFC teams on the road and you start to lose in your division to a Tennessee or lose a tiebreaker scenario with the Miami, with the Baltimore, now you go into October and you are behind the 8 ball and it is a steep climb. That is where the optimism really teeters on. This is shaky right now. And if you don't somehow get out of the stretch at 2-3, you're going to need help. And for you not to even reach the midway point of the season when your bye is until December and you already start to need help, like, I don't know about you, but I think I was speaking for a lot of Colts fans or people that follow the Colts yesterday. I'm watching that Tennessee-Seattle game, like, kind of on the edge of my seat thinking, this is a massive game.
It felt like week 14. Exactly.
Right.
That was a scoreboard watching situation, and to see Henry be as dominant as he was late. Let me ask you this. Is there any way this ankle injury, let's assume it isn't severe, maybe it's a week, couple weeks at most, could this be a blessing in the sense that Wentz will have to learn quick decisions out of the pocket and you're going to have to pull away some of that scrambling, extending nature, and maybe this accelerates his ability to become comfortable, kind of more of not, to a Phillip Rivers extent that we saw last season, but okay, I have to play out of the pocket. Yeah. I'm going to have to figure that out right now, or I'm not going to have a chance. Maybe that is a silver lining of this little situation we're in right now.
It is such a great question, Charlie, but I just don't think he's ever going to get there as a quarterback. I don't.
But aren't you just begging him, though, if you're Frank Reich? This is not sustainable to have to run around like that and play like he did yesterday. It's not sustainable.
But I don't think he's a high-level quarterback from inside of the pocket throughout the entire game. I don't think he's a guy that is just this super quick processor that's just going to dink and dunk his way down the field. And I think the intermediate accuracy issues would start to show up. I think it's something we saw in Philadelphia last year. I think you still have got to play to some of his strengths, which are extending some plays, perimeter throws, taking some shots down the field. Now, to do that, maybe you need to max protect a little bit more. I just think it's a very difficult, fine balance to coach that out of Carson Wentz. You knew what you were getting Carson Wentz. You knew it was a guy that was going to hold on to the ball a little bit more, and with that, more pressure was on the offensive line to do their job, and obviously Carson plays into that. Like you said earlier, Charlie, making a good point about the communication issues in pass protection with the O-line. So I think you knew what you signed up for, and I just don't see all of a sudden this epiphany happening with Carson Wentz where he's going to hold on to it or he's going to get it out in 2.5 seconds. I don't think he's that type of processor. I think he's a guy that wants to keep it a little bit longer, try to make some plays down the field. Those are his strengths. Obviously, with that comes risks. Turnover risks, which we really haven't seen much of, frankly, but injury risks. So I just think that's where you're at. Let's get to Doug as well. Doug wants to talk about Frank Reich. What's up, Doug?
Hey there, guys. How you doing this morning?
Good. How about yourself?
Yep, doing well. Hey, one interesting thing that just reoccurred to me as you guys were talking about Frank Reich not being able to execute if the offensive line, as a coach, if the offensive line can't protect. Didn't we fire our offensive line coach at the end of 2019, the first season since Peyton that I can remember us ever just having a really great line and all the linemen being upset about it? Am I misremembering that?
Yeah, Doug, I think he was fired, and you're talking about Gouge, Dave De Guglielmo, if I'm saying that correctly. That was after 2018, right, Charlie? That was Reich's first year, I believe?
Yes, because this is Strasser's second season. Is that
third?
Is it his third?
Yeah, I thought it was Strasser's third. Obviously, Kevin Wyatt brought in as well.
Yeah, you're right. It's his third because we met Strasser his first day, and that was in person, so that obviously wouldn't have been last year.
Yeah, so Gouge is a guy that was kind of a hard ass and has bounced around a ton of jobs. I don't think he's been like the offensive line coach, frankly, for more than like 1 or 2 seasons at any NFL stop there. Is that some of it? Sure. I just think right now it's a little bit of your O-lines getting tested depth-wise, and I think Ryan Kelly's banged up.
And so is Quentin Nelson. I mean, this back issue, I thought look, the play that set up the first goal line debacle, he blows up Aaron Donald, and basically we tried to dial that up a couple more times on that goal line thing. I mean, hats off to Q for playing all these guys. You saw an offensive line up there yesterday postgame. Again, it looked like it was late in the season in terms of Ryan Kelly goes up there. He's battered. I mean, he looks like he's just been through an absolute war, and we're 2 games into this season. And on the edges, it's obviously a big question mark. You heard Jeff Saturday give major props to Eric Fisher. I mean, how much time have we spent this morning O-line and Frank Reich? I mean, this is just
for a second straight week.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, I mean, I think Doug makes a good point there. I mean, this line, I think at times they haven't looked the same since 2018. I tend to think you're just going through some natural offensive line health issues as well, and that happens to everybody around the league. And when your depth gets tested, the Colts' depth hasn't lived up to. I don't look at Ryan Kelly and think he's got a second contract, he's content. Like he doesn't strike me as that guy at all. I do think Ryan Kelly has battled some injuries in his career, and those are a little bit more apparent, and he's gotten exposed in these last couple. Frankly, you need better right now, and I know both of these guys are banged up, but you need much better from Ryan Kelly, and you need much better from Darius Leonard.
And I don't know if the Leonard thing is coming anytime soon. We haven't spent a ton of time on that this morning, but if you looked at the wrap on his right ankle, I mean, the interception he could have had, I don't know if you remember that play right over the middle. He kind of slides in. He is just not making the recovery plays over the middle that I feel like we're accustomed to. Some of these plays over the middle, he's just disappeared, and I would love to really know the severity of that situation because he has not been your game breaker, with the exception of the third down that really kept the game alive yesterday, down in the fourth quarter, that ultimately held Los Angeles to a field goal. You take him away, who are your playmakers on that defense outside of DeForest Buckner? I'm not sure if that list extends beyond Buckner right now.
I think Drew makes a great point here. If the Colts wanted a guy to dink and dunk, Nick Foles would be here for a far cheaper price tag. They want the improvising playmaking. That's the thing. They wanted the higher ceiling at quarterback.
Sure. I mean, who wouldn't?
Wentz, Foles, that's probably a different debate, but I think they knew that they had to get more potential at quarterback. Wentz gives you that, so you can't shackle him too much with that. Yes, you can balance it, but you cannot shackle him too much on that front. All right, if you guys missed Jeff Saturday, we'll get to that here in about 15 minutes. Let's hit a Bigger Tire Sports Center update.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Simply put, the goal line. That's what cost the Colts yesterday. 2 empty drives in the first half when they had 7 plays in a goal-to-go situation. Frank Reich's thoughts on that?
We call 3 runs and we don't get any of the runs in, and then, the last one's a little raw pass where we've got a little trickery in how we called it with the play before, but they were ready for it, so it wasn't coached well enough. But we got to get it in from the 1 yard line. Just thought that hurt us, and so I didn't call the right play, and we didn't execute well enough. So that's on all of us.
Yes, it is. Both are definitely true in that case for Frank Reich. Obviously, the big news today will come with the MRI results for Carson Wentz and his injured right ankle. Here was Wentz after the game talking about the injury that knocked him out with about 7 minutes to go on a 3rd down hit from Aaron Donald.
Ankle got twisted up, felt it right away, did not feel good, tried to tape it up, spat it up, do everything I could to get out there and finish the game, and it's a bad feeling to not be out there, especially in that situation. Kind of feel like you kind of let the team down a little bit, so it's definitely frustrating, but it's football.
I think we're grown to think that, guys can kind of play through ankle sprains to a degree, but man, just knowing how
See that
tough,
replay?
Right.
It's freaking nasty, man.
Knowing how tough Wentz is, seeing him on the sidelines. I mean, I watched him kneel down and pray with the Colts and Rams players after the game. I'm like, dude, just can you pray standing up? Like it just looked painful, him going down there. All of that, Charlie, makes me think, boy, are we looking at a multi-week thing? I mean, if it was just a week, I don't know. I feel like he would have tried to give it a go. It never got close to him trying to give it a go. He did those dropbacks on the sideline. They did not look
Think
good.
about where his adrenaline level was at that point in time. He knows in the back of his head, I'm in my new home. The crowd's into it. I need 1 drive to win this game. Hell, they'll carry me off the field. This would be epic.
Byron Leftwich carried every play.
The fact that he couldn't even go out there and give it a go, I think we're cautiously optimistic. Obviously, he put on a good show post-game, coming in with no boot, got up the stairs, got out of there without anything blatantly looking like, okay, he's not up there on crutches and a boot. But, yeah, I put the over-under on, I don't know if I expect him to play this week. Just, I don't have a good feeling about it, Kevin. I'll leave it at that. I don't know what it is. It's just a gut instinct.
Yeah, I would agree with that. AFC South is 2-6 through 2 weeks. The Titans come back and win in overtime. The Jags lose to the Broncos. The Texans got off to a decent start. Tyrod Taylor gets hurt. They lose to the Browns. It's the Texans and Titans at 1-1. The Colts and Jags at 0-2. For those that went to bed last night, you missed an unbelievable game. Ravens and Chiefs. Lamar Jackson had some issues early, but Lamar Jackson makes so many freaking plays. Made a couple late, and they shut out the Chiefs in the 4th quarter. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, a huge fumble late in that game, and the Ravens beat the Chiefs.
Would have loved to have the Manning brothers on that one.
Right.
That's, look, it's the holy grail of these are the 2 most entertaining quarterbacks in the NFL, with Deshaun Watson currently not in the picture in Houston. And your top 2 AFC contenders, is Buffalo back in that picture after next week? Is it Kansas City and Baltimore for you right now? Where's that at after 2 weeks, Kev?
Yeah, I'm still kind of on the Buffalo train a little bit. I know losing to Pittsburgh at home in week 1 wasn't great. And I still think Cleveland is a team from a balance standpoint. I know I'm siding with Mike Wells a little bit here, but I do like what they have on both sides of the ball. So, I think when it's all said and done, it's still everyone is looking up at Kansas City. But this is a really good conference. I mean, the Chargers were a play away from them being 2-0.
Yeah.
I think the Raiders.
Did you see the Herbert throw, by the way?
Are surprised. I mean, he's incredible.
60 yards, sideline out, on a dime.
Just frozen rope.
Brett Favre.
And watching Stafford's different arm angles yesterday. Man, you talk about some arm talent. Whew. Those guys got it. Unfortunately, this segue just kind of sets up for itself. Arm talent, not necessarily there. I should say consistency with the arm in Bloomington. Michael Penix, 50% passer at this point of the season. 6 interceptions, fatal interceptions. IU loses 38-24. And really just kind of a wild game. A huge targeting call in the first half when IU was up 14-0 late in the first half. That certainly impacted things. But as you move forward, I think the biggest question for Tom Allen is, who's your starting quarterback?
Yeah, I'm done with the targeting call. It's one play. It's one player. That was just a mental collapse on the defense's part. Penix isn't right. Throwing flat-footed, throwing sidearmed. The misses, high, low, long.
Say some ground balls, everything.
It's not his time, and I know we've gone back and forth. Jack Tuttle will be in there sooner rather than later unless he can fix this week, because the season's too short to just ride with that.
And you're too good elsewhere. You know, I know that Ty Freifogel had a really tough game. That's a big drop, so you need better from him. But your defense is playing too good a football right now to have your quarterback make such costly mistakes.
It's just not the same guy. And I hope it's not just one too many injuries for Penix, because he's a great kid. But it's been absolutely atrocious.
Notre Dame covers, beats Purdue 27-13. The Irish will now hit a very difficult stretch, starting with Wisconsin at Soldier Field on Saturday. That is a noon kickoff. Purdue's got Illinois and Minnesota. Massive home games for Purdue and trying to get to that bowl eligibility mark. When you look at the rest of their schedule, these are two very, very winnable games. David Bell seems like good news. He was up and walking around with teammates after the game on Saturday, you know, not isolated or anything like that. So obviously hope that Bell can get back out there as quick as possible. But Notre Dame studs just made a few more plays on Saturday.
Yeah, look, I know Purdue fans thought, oh, if we got a couple more calls, this is our game. No, it wasn't. Notre Dame did just enough. If you're Jeff Brown the next 2 weeks, this is your time, right? The expectation is we paid you, you're going to beat these teams.
At home.
At home. This is it right here. You know, if David Bell's not in the lineup, then maybe you cut him a little slack. But for me, that is a huge storyline for folks in West Lafayette. 4-1, that's what this team needs after what was a really rocky ride last season.
Second to last IndyCar race of the year, Colton Herta, really a dominant performance out there at Laguna Seca. He gets the W. Alex Palou second, Romain Grosjean third. Palou, Charlie, you talk about a guy that, again, not a ton of experience. He's positioned himself once again in a great spot heading into the season finale. Up 35 points on Pato O'Ward, 48 on Joseph Newgarden. As long as he finishes top 10, he's going to be the series winner.
We've got to pull up what his championship odds were for the season. Someone is going on.
Could have been in the top, 7, 8?
Dude.
Maybe further than that?
Further back, for sure. I mean, for this to happen this quickly for a 24-year-old that was supposed to be kind of just the understudy for Scott Dixon, woo! He's been lights out. Just steel. And Herta overall yesterday, great ride.
On tomorrow's show, we are going to hit a little Hard Knocks action. Want to get your thoughts on that. And we've got, the executive director of Hard Knocks, Mark, is going to join us?
Yeah, one of the directors of Hard Knocks, Steve Trout, will join us. So he's actually on location currently filming with the Colts.
Mark Dykton, nice.
Great work by Mark there. That'll be fun to get a little bit of, again, on-site perspective on what the Colts are going to be going through Hard Knocks-wise. And, I'm sure the episodes will be kind of a bit of a doom and gloom feel right now here with this 0-2 start. All right, it's pop quiz time on the Fan Morning Show. We'll have Jeff Saturday in about 10 minutes, 317-239-1070. Mark, remind our listeners what we're giving away today as well.
All week long, if you've got kids like I do, they love dinosaurs. Head over to the Indiana State Fairgrounds for Dino Stroll. It's this Saturday and Sunday at the fairgrounds. Over 75 life-size animatronic dinosaurs come to life with realistic movements and sounds in this outdoor experience. You can bring the whole family. We've got 4 packs of tickets every day this week leading up to the event. And if you can't win tickets, you can purchase tickets at dinostroll.com. Again, the event is the 25th and 26th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds and Event Center.
Every time Mo Ali Cox catches the ball and starts running, he looks like a dinosaur to me, like in a good way. Like I would not want to tackle that human being at all. 317-239-1070. Pop quiz time, Fan Morning Show.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Big savings on brands you know and trust, like up to $150 off select sets of tires now through October 10th. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
The goblet has dropped.
Caesars Sportsbook is here. Download it. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up.
When winter's at its worst, snowplow professionals need the best. That's why your local Boss dealer has the ultimate lineup of snow and ice solutions you need. Front to back, Boss leads with advanced truck plows and spreaders, compact equipment, heavy equipment, and time-saving tools to clear any surface area. Keep them open with a Boss snowplow, built to back you up.
Join the Boss Owners Group and get a $50 rebate right now with a preseason Boss plow inspection at Mid-State Truck Equipment. Online at mid-statetruck.com.
How real do I give it? So real. How real do I give it? So real. So real that Caesars will give you some authentic NFL gear when you bet $100 in September. So download the app and get live in-game betting, parlays, Caesars rewards, and some authentic NFL gear. I'm an official sponsor of the NFL, people!
Must be 21. Offer valid in Indiana only and for new and existing users who opt into this offer. Jersey awarded as a gift card. Options may vary. Terms and conditions apply. See Caesars.com/promos. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. We are so excited to bring you the Union Loan Program. If you work in a union, any union, at closing, we give you a $500 gift card. Refinance or purchase, doesn't matter. That's how we say thank you for all the hard work. Mortgage rates are in the twos. Apply for your union loan today at thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
There's never been a better time to switch to Spectrum Mobile. You could save hundreds of dollars on your mobile bill. Plus, there are no added taxes, hidden fees, and no contracts. Try the Spectrum Mobile Savings Calculator today, and in 3 easy steps, you'll see how much you could save by switching. Visit spectrummobile.com/save. Spectrum Internet required. Savings may vary. Restrictions apply. Visit spectrummobile.com/save for details.
There's Pablo in his natural habitat, opening his internet bill in fear. He just saw his 12-month promotional price ended. Uh-oh, and he just discovered the equipment fees. Back away slowly.
If your internet bill drives you wild, just remember, you're not a bad person. You just need a straightforward price. Get AT&T Fiber. Unlimited internet with no price increase at 12 months. Visit att.com/no hidden fees. Limited availability in select areas.
Miles of pristine white sand below, expansive cerulean blue skies above, and wonderment everywhere you look. This is St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida in the fall. Here, the senses awaken with the first morning light. Emerald green waters gently lap the shore. A calming Gulf breeze floats through the air. It's vivid, it's vibrant, and it's the perfect getaway. Plan your fall escape to America's best beaches at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Fan Morning Show's Pop Quiz with Kevin Bowen. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
All right, it's Pop Quiz time, 317-239-1070. We got some callers on the line. Charlie Clifford, give me a number 1 through 8.
Give me number 2. We need 2 to be healthy this week.
Ty, you're up.
What's up, Ty?
Hey, good morning, guys.
All right, you ready for the pop quiz?
Yeah, I don't think Tim Jennings can win this quiz, but I'll give it a shot.
Hey, come on. Great Ken Jennings. Shout out. All right, Colts fell to 0-2. Their 27-24 loss to the Rams yesterday. When is the last time the Colts started a season 0-3? A, 2011, B, 2015, C, 2017, D, 2018.
I'll say 11.
Okay.
Which of the following NFL teams ties not off to a 2-0 start? Is it the 49ers, the Broncos, the Bills, or the Raiders?
The Bills.
Okay, Tampa Bay knocked off the Falcons yesterday. Tom Brady has thrown 4 touchdown passes in 4 consecutive games dating back to last season.
Ugh.
That ties him with Dan Marino for the second longest streak of 4 touchdown games in NFL history, who holds a record with 5 straight 4 touchdown games. Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Johnny Unitas, Dan Fouts.
I'll say Fouts.
I would have guessed Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, you're right. Ty, on this day in 53, I know you got this one. Cubs legend Ernie Banks, first home run of his major league career. Banks finishes when it's all said and done with 512 long balls. Name the other Hall of Famer who also hit 512 in terms of career home runs. Is it Ted Williams, Eddie Matthews, Mel Ott, or the great Willie McCovey?
Willie McCovey.
All right, on this day in 1980, Kansas City Royals third baseman George Brett went 0 for 4 against Oakland, dropping his batting average below 400 for good. Brett would finish with a .390 average. In the ensuing 41 years, only one hitter has posted a better average for a season. Can you name him?
Roger Maris.
All right, Ty, appreciate it.
No. That's not what I meant. I meant Ted Williams.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Both are wrong, but
Respect the hustle.
I'm glad you snuck that in there. Great start for Ty, and then, unfortunately, kind of like the Colts at the goal line, just unable to punch it in there.
Ooh.
Colts fell to 0-2 with their 27-24 loss. The last time they started 0-3, he said 2011. Boom, baby! Colts lost their first 13 that year until Dan Orlovsky saved them from embarrassment. Following NFL teams not off to a 2-0 start, he said the Bills at 1-1. Correct there, and this is where he slipped up. The record for 5 straight 4-touchdown games. He said Dan Fouts. The answer?
Peyton Manning. Let's go with Peyton. When in doubt. Sorry, Todd.
You don't get to come back tomorrow. You don't even get a lousy copy of our home game. You're a complete loser.
You lose. Good day, sir.
Tony, get your bag and get the hell out of here.
Willie McCovey was the guest for number 4. It was actually Eddie Matthews at 512 home runs. And then Tony Gwynn, 394 in the strike-shortened 1994 season for the sweet swinging lefty.
If you had Eddie Matthews' home run total, just props to you this morning out there.
I think Ty accurately said
that was the end of the line there.
Only Ken Jennings would have pulled that off. All right, we come back on the Fan Morning Show. Jeff Saturday, he is going to join us to give his thoughts. Not too happy with the O-line, and he's got some concern about Carson Wentz and his injury as well. Kevin Bowe and Charlie Clifford on the Fan.
Hey, it's JMV. Did you know the lack of sleep from snoring can lead to other health issues for both the snorer and the snorer's partner? My friends at Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic can help you. Meet the friendly, helpful, and knowledgeable staff and work with Dr. Steve Green. Yeah, you know, Steve Green from IU basketball fame, the co-founder and clinical director who wants to get everyone a better night's sleep. A better night's sleep is just an appointment away. It helped me. It can help you. StopYourSnoreNow.com or 317-482-7900 today.
That should do it with your new Anderson 400 series windows. So stylish and easy to install. I have these exact ones in my own home.
Honestly, John, we couldn't be happier.
They're perfect.
They last a long time. Don't think you'll be needing me again. So this is probably goodbye. Alex, Julie, we'll see ya.
I hate goodbyes.
Alex, John was our contractor.
Anderson 400 series are the windows contractors trust most. Learn more at AndersonWindows.com. 2020 Anderson brand survey of U.S. contractors. Visit AndersonWindows.com for warranty details.
The NFL is back, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 bet risk-free every week. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay bet with 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. We're heading into the Monday night matchup between the Lions and Packers. Green Bay are heavy favorites after coming out with a dud in Week 1. I'm taking the points they're giving the Lions, the over in first half total points, and the over in points scored in the third quarter. Same game parlays are one of the many reasons that FanDuel Sportsbook is America's #1 sportsbook. Plus, they have lightning fast payouts, and their app is safe, secure, and easy to use. And if you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up today with promo code MARK to also receive a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code MARK, M-A-R-C, so they know that I sent you. 21 and over in present Indiana. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and web. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
BMO Harris is where you are with banking tools you need where you need them, like fast Zelle transfers.
Who had the 3 cheese omelet? Mine was 5 cheese. Okay, then you owe $11.72. I also had a side of bacon. So then make that $15.39. I have a mimosa on the way. Okay.
With BMO Harris, you can split bills easily using Zelle once you finally figure out who owes what. When your bank is where you are. That's the BMO effect.
Hey guys, Gronk here, calling a 30-second hair huddle.
When it comes to tackling hair loss, Hims has you covered. From clinically proven regrowth treatments to thickening, shampoo, and conditioner. Just go to 4hims.com for a free consultation. Then a licensed medical provider can help you with your game plan. If prescribed, Hims ships directly to your door. Get your hair back in the game with Hims. Try today and get a 90-day money-back guarantee at 4hims.com.
Just go to 4hims.com/huddle. That's 4hims.com/HUDDLE. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
At Kroger, fresh groceries are our thing, so we check your delivery order for freshness at every step from farm to store and pick and pack every veggie in your free pickup order with care, because we treat your food the way we'd want ours to be treated. We're fresh every day, so shop anyway. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Free pickup on orders of $35 or more. Restrictions may apply.
Fresh produce is always a tasty treat, and right now, juicy blueberries in pint containers are 2 for $4 with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, it's JMV. I've been talking about this for a while. Brand new to Brownsburg. CarX Tire and Auto at 455 East Northfield Drive. The absolute best with this great special grand opening offer. Lifetime brakes just $109.99. And how about a synthetic blend oil change just $29.99. Brownsburg, CarX Tire and Auto. They're here. Shout out to Joe Childers and the gang today for that location nearest you, including Brownsburg. CarX.com today.
Get Wendy's bacon or sausage, egg, and Swiss breakfast croissant for $1.99. This hot buttery croissant is fluffy enough to sleep on. Wakey, wakey. Get a better breakfast for just $1.99. Only at Wendy's.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Third-party delivery prices may vary. Not valid in the combo.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
It's Jeff Saturday time here on the Fan Morning Show. We had Jeff on earlier, and if anybody missed the interview, here is a large chunk of that now, starting with Jeff's thoughts on the offensive line play through 2 weeks.
It's brutal. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, there's no consistency, and, you know, everybody's going to talk about the Wentz injury and what that played. But, you know, looking for, you know, throughout the season, like this O-line, you know, we talked about in the preseason being a strength of the football team. And that just has not shown up as of the first 2 weeks. And I think the most disappointing part for me is that you don't really know, you know, like, where do you hang your hat, right? I mean, like, so if you know there's a certain guy or a certain issue that's not playing well, you know, you can tend to help them. You can tend to do some things to give yourself a better chance. But it's like everybody's kind of taking turns of not doing their job. And so when you don't really have somewhere to kind of hang your hat, it's going to become an issue. And I think it just continues to show up. And there's no rest for the weary. Look, man, we got, you know, we're now in the AFC the next 3 weeks for, you know, playoff teams from last year. And you got to go. Like, there ain't no slowdown. Nobody's feeling sorry for you because you've had some bumps and bruises, but you can tell they haven't practiced together. You know, there's no continuity. There's no, you know, there's no consistency up front, and that's where it all starts for the Colts, and it's got to get better.
Jeff, how does continuity come into play when you're on the 1 yard line, opening drive? You need 1 yard. You have Lucas Oil Stadium, absolutely electric, ready to burst, and ultimately you can't pick up that yard. Where does continuity come in goal line situations?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like inside gap presence, you know, are you going to get a double? You know, if a guy jumps through the gap, you know, who's going to kind of be your help? You know, even odd fronts, like all those conversations. But at the end of the day, I mean, like that, both red zone opportunities, I was really disappointed early. I didn't understand. You know, at some point you just get foot to foot, bro. Put your hands down. Let's go move. You know, let's go move guys off the ball. And it's like, you know, we just, for whatever reason, we can't get that going. And it's, you know, I think it's a mentality down there, and as big and physical as you have between the center and the left guard, you know, at some point that's got to be, hey, man, we're going to come right here 4 times. Let's get it in. And that the Rams, because here's the thing, when I look at the Rams, I think they're good up front. I would not consider them like overly stout. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. you see Donald like jump through gaps, right? Like he'll kind of get skinny. He'll turn his hips sideways and kind of skinny through. But you know, and it's not that he can't play with leverage, but he's not one of those guys that you'd be like, oh man, I mean, he's a 290, 90 plus back. Like put hip to hip, bro. Let's freaking move bodies. You know what I mean? Same for Joseph Day. So little surprised by that, in all honesty. But man, you had, look, you had everything in your favor and you didn't do it. Give them credit, but you got to go back and figure out why we're not getting it done and have a true, have a true meeting of, hey man, if we're going to be what this team depends on, those are the moments we got to step up and be the best of our group.
He's Jeff Saturday, joins us every morning here on the Fan Morning Show. Let's stick with the goal line for just another second here, Jeff. I think when you go back to the first one where you got stuffed on the 4th and 1, sacked, I believe Wentz was under center. All those plays, I think you only spread them out with one wideout as well. When you think of like goal line execution, and yes, as much as you got to get 1 yard when you invest so much in your O-line like you have, what are your kind of keys? Like what do you like? Do you like spreading it out? Do you like going shotgun? What are some of your principles when you get in those goal line situations?
No, I actually like their formation and setup. I mean, again, you're not talking about an overly stout group. From the Rams' perspective, if you just look body for body, it's not like you just look at them and go, man, they're just a bunch of, run eaters, run stuffers up in there. You know what I mean? They're very athletic. They're very agile. But, no, to your point, I actually like this setup. I mean, at some point, it's just you got to play better than the guy across from you. And I think, and part of it is, how many reps has each guy gotten in practice? Have they gotten back to their form of playing? But no, I don't question the play call. You got to get it in. And the boot. Look at the boot on the 4th. You kind of live and die by that call, right? There's not a whole lot. You get edge pressure, and there's not a whole lot you can do when everything's kind of stuffed down. But the 3 plays before, it should have walked in anyway. And so even if you got to go QB sneak, I mean, again, like whatever you got to do when you're at that 1 yard line, and you are resting your season and your hat on that O-line, it's got to happen. And I know they're disappointed. I know fans are disappointed in that because obviously that's a complete a flip of the game and definitely of momentum. And so it was just it's one of those things that's unfortunate. They got to go back and look at it and figure out what they got to do and get it improved, man, because nobody's hiding from that. Like, you can't hide not getting. I mean, think about the Ravens, right? Like 4th and 1, this is what they do. Like, they're going to go do it, man. Whatever it is, like, this is what we do. Now, we may lose on it, but we're going to give ourselves the best chance. That's the mentality that has to come through when you're the offensive line, like you said, that this much money and time and has been invested in these guys. Man, you got to get a freaking yard. Like, that's the bottom line, and we didn't do it.
It's been tough, Jeff. 2 weeks. This time last week, the big question, can Eric Fisher get back? Remarkable story, shy of 8 months with the Achilles. Your thoughts on Fisher's snaps on Sunday?
Unbelievable. I mean, look, man, I mean, I think people forget how athletic everybody in the NFL really is. And when you talk about a guy coming off an Achilles at 300 and whatever pounds, and the ability to move backwards and forwards with pressure both ways, right? A guy trying to bull rush you or spin you, and you having to mimic him and mirror him, and then you got to be physical in the run game and get push and pressure on guys. Man, tip your hat to this guy, man. I mean, this dude has overcome it in 8 months. I mean, it is remarkable. Got a lot of respect for guys who fight like that, man, and that he's getting back. And I know it's going to take you time to get into football shape. Like, sure. There's no surprise from that, but man, you have to respect the effort and what he's done, because to get back that fast is very impressive.
Played 49 of 67 snaps yesterday, Eric Fisher, on a little bit of a pitch count in his return.
Which is more than I thought. I mean, really? I don't know how y'all went into it. Yeah, but when I went in, I thought, he maybe every other series, or he'd play a few series in the first half, a few series in the second half, or something. But man, I mean, that's a pretty good cut. 50 plays, again after an Achilles in 8 months, like. That's a lot of reps. So yeah, again, just to show you the toughness of that against one of the best defenses in the NFL. He wasn't shying away from it, man. That's again, you give him credit for the effort to get out there and do what he did.
Our center, Jeff Saturday, joins us thanks to More Restoration every Monday here on the Fan Morning Show. Let's move to the biggest topic coming out of Sunday, Jeff, and that is the what we assume is an ankle sprain to Carson Wentz MRI last night. We'll get results here this morning. Wentz said last night he does not think it is broken. The difficulty, let's say it's a high ankle sprain, the difficulty for a guy that's been, frankly, Houdini-like in keeping some plays alive through the first 2 weeks and trying to get back from that in the limitations that he might have moving forward if he does try and play on it at less than 100%.
Yeah, no, this is very concerning. You know, when you think about just the way that preseason has gone for him with the COVID deal and then the foot and the surgery and then the first 2 weeks, and I think y'all said 21, but I think I had 28 QB hits in the first 2 weeks. And man, I think even yesterday when you're coming off the field, and I honestly thought he was going to go back in when I saw him, dropping back, and they're kind of panning over, and you're kind of seeing him. But I guarantee you, the questions asked are, can you protect yourself? Like, you're getting chased around. You got Aaron Donald, running you down from the back. Like, can you protect yourself and still get rid of the football? And look, that's a real question. Like, I think fans need to understand, like, that is a real concern when you're talking about your quarterback and what he's capable of and incapable of at the moment. When you limit his mobility, the way that people have been able to get pressure with Seattle and the Rams this last week, that gives you great pause and concern, because you do not want to put him out there gimpy when, to your point, he has been Houdini-like. He has kept plays alive. He's done all those things. And if you limit that, what position are you putting him in?
Sure.
But then you saw Eason come in, man, and the interception to Ramsey to overthrow. You're just, golly. If you're Chris Ballard and Frank, you're thinking, man, we just cannot catch a break with this kid. And so, you're hoping that it comes back. And I'll be honest with you, a bad sprain might be worse than a break, right? Like, depending on how bad that sprain is, man, I've seen guys be limited for a long time. So you're hoping this thing comes back cleaner than anticipated, because that was an ugly looking injury when you saw it in slow-mo from the backside.
No, he's a warrior, as Ryan Kelly said, and Quentin Nelson backed it up. Hasn't complained once through all the shots through 2 weeks. Let's put ourselves at the table with Chris Ballard and Frank Reich, Jeff. Where does Carson need to be at percentage-wise, knowing that it's only week 3, but it's the Titans, it's on the road, you have Eason, who hadn't taken an NFL snap. Where are you at if you're Chris Ballard or Frank Reich in terms of what you're willing to do putting Carson out there this early in the season with an injury?
Yeah, I think you have to have the conversation has to be, how can you protect yourself? And that's the bottom line. If you can protect yourself, feel good about him manipulating the pocket, even if you limit his break out of the pocket type runs. But if you're like, hey, he can shuffle and move, we'll match protect, or we'll keep a guy in, we'll chip some, we'll do something to keep him, kind of make him a statue, more or less in the pocket for the next few weeks. But can he do it? I mean, that's honestly the decision, because I don't know that you necessarily make it worse, but you can definitely get something else happen, right? We all know that once you get one thing, oftentimes it can kind of move around the body, and so. And to your point about the games coming up, 3 playoff teams from last year, like, this is the time. I mean, I'm upset that you're 0-2 and we're sitting in this room, but the truth is that these AFC games mean more, and you got to go make this happen. I think if he's 80-85%, but he can protect himself, he probably goes. If he's not, I think then you'll see Eason and the Colts will be having to overcome not only the 0-2, but a new quarterback starting.
That was Jeff Saturday with us earlier. Again, the full interview will be up on our podcast page. It's the Fan Morning Show podcast page. Obviously, that is the big news. Charlie Clifford and Kevin Bowen back here on the Fan Morning Show. What is going to be the update on Carson Wentz? Man, I can't get out of it, Charlie, that, like, such a tough guy. That injury looked as menacing as it did, and, like, really, he never even put on the helmet to go back in the game.
What percentage are you willing to put him out there on Sunday in Tennessee where you aren't concerned about long-term health? Obviously, we know what's at stake here, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, with this offensive line, you can't put him out there at anything less than 90%. And then the re-injuring aspect would be the other part of it. But, I mean, Jacob Eason is definitely not some athletic guy back there scrambling for his life. He's kind of Stafford, honestly, in how he moves. But, I think he misses a game, but that's just purely my gut talking.
11 plays. That's how long it took the Colts to attempt to pass into the end zone from inside the 10. That was my big takeaway. You aren't going to beat the Jets 1 of 4 in red zone trips in terms of scoring touchdowns. That is the story in week 2.
Enjoy to Charlie Clifford from Wish TV. He'll be back with us tomorrow. And again, Wednesday, we'll talk a little Hard Knocks tomorrow. Hopefully have Joe Wright as well. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to the Fan Morning Show. You're listening right here, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.